Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. In these 3 days, Long Fei closed his doors and went out. He was completely immersed in the Sky Spill Emperor's system and God's Pavilion. Although these inheritances were powerful, they didn't match up to him. Although he had obtained a few related strength skills, Long Fei did not plan to refine them. However, time was of the essence, and Long Fei did not have the time to find more people to pass on his powers. And the best choice would be the God's Pavilion. In the 999 Masters of the God's Pavilion, cultivation powers and the legacy of the great emperor would always complement each other. At that time, he would be able to fuse them together and become an emperor with a single step. Master, it won't be long, at most a few days, God's Pavilion's powers will be fully recovered. At that time, I will F***KM. Inside the space, the God's Pavilion said excitedly, "Yes, a few days is enough. But before that, we have to get the Mainyo and the Devil Origin out first." Long Fei said. It didn't matter if it was the Mainyo or the Devil Origin. They were all people who had given their lives for him. Was never stingy toward his own people. So, two figures descended from the sky. Master, with the appearance of Demon Origin and Ma Wu, the two of them immediately knelt in front of Long Fei. "Get up. The reason I called you out this time is to give you guys a good fortune," Long Fei said in a serious tone. With that, Long Fei took out the inheritance power of the Emperor of Heaven and the Ancient Emperor. "Demon Source, this is yours. This one is yours." Long Fei passed 2 strands of power to the two of them. In an instant, their eyes bloomed with boundless light. They were the leaders of their respective planes of existence, so it was natural that they would be able to tell how extraordinary this emperor's legacy was with a single glance. This is the legacy power of Emperor Fong Tian. The Devil Origin has a violent nature and has unparalleled magic. It is possible that you will be able to further refine the power of Emperor Fong Tian. It is also impossible for you to surpass Emperor Fong Tian. "Impossible," Long Fei said. "As for the hempen, you have long legs." However, Emperor Chongqing's legacy already had a candidate, and that was Little Yai. Therefore, I can only give you Ancient Emperor's power. The vicissitudes of time, the endless space-time, and your power, they're all similar to your powers, refined in a similar fashion. In the future, we might also have some unexpected gains," Long Fei said in all seriousness. His heart was beating like a drum. This was because this power was something that he could assign at will. As for this explanation, it was just a casual remark. In the end, even he didn't know. But no matter if it was the Ma clan or the Demon Origin. At this moment, he became excited. "Thank you, Master. Thank you, Master. Aunt Ma, my life is already Master's. As long as Master says it, the Demon Origin will definitely go back and forth without any hesitation." Ma Wu excitedly received the Ancient Emperor's inheritance power. The nun quickly expressed her feelings. The owner of the Devil Origin was startled. He laughed mischievously, and with certainty in his eyes, he looked at Long Fei affectionately as he cupped his fists. "Me too." Hiss. Long Fei took a deep breath. A strange sense of familiarity appeared before his eyes. The nun also helplessly looked at the Devil Origin, the corner of her mouth filled with disdain. Right? As the saying goes, despising a person doesn't necessarily mean it, and looks can tell you. "Master, I'll go refine it first. I'll be able to master it in about 2 days," the nun said and left. He took the initiative to return to the God's Pavilion. The Devil Origin looked at Long Fei and laughed. "Me too." After saying that, with a swoosh, he also disappeared. Only Long Fei remained, messy in the wind. F***CK, I almost became a grass shoe seller. Don't say it. That big beard of Demon Shines really has a bit of Zhang Fei's appearance. Long Fei thought as he opened the door. He happened to see you playing with the little guy. Suddenly, Long Fei felt a warmth in his heart. At the same time, he clenched his fists tightly, and a new thirst for power appeared in his heart. Right now, peace was what he wanted and what he wanted to protect. Long Fei absolutely would not allow anyone to destroy it. That's about right. As long as we get to participate in the qualification battles, it's time to face the Emperor Xian. As he thought about this, Long Fei also looked towards the endless primal chaos. It was also at this time that the little guy and the pup noticed that Long Fei had arrived. Thus, Long Fei became the super wet nurse, one in each hand. Big brother, I feel that there are a lot of eyes watching us from all sides. While speaking with an innocent face, Yi still retained her original personality. She was a little restrained and afraid as she scratched the corner of her shirt and said, "That's right, old man. Do you want me to kill them all?" The little guy, on the other hand, disapproved and opened his mouth to kill. Long Fei chuckled. "No need. They want to see. Just let them watch. There's only a few days left anyway." After saying that, a cold light flashed in Long Fei's eyes. 7 days. With only 7 days left, the qualification battles would begin. Long Fei did not believe that these people could endure for 7 days. Therefore, before the qualification battle started, they would definitely create some kind of trouble for Long Fei. Hence, Long Fei pretended not to notice them and allowed them to look around. Dong, dong, dong. Rumble, rumble, rumble. It was like a gong in the sky, resounding through the primal chaos. Chaos clouds surged in the skies, following which a powerful aura appeared. Rising into the air, the light of chaos spread throughout the world. Long Fei's eyes focused. He put the little fellow down and went forward to receive it. Without even thinking about it, just the appearance of this aura alone was enough for Long Fei to guess who it was. The Lord of Primordial Chaos. Only the Lord of the Chaos would dare to make a name for himself on this mountain. Even the Celestial Emperor wouldn't dare to do such a thing. In the distance, those who were observing the surroundings exposed themselves the moment this aura appeared. They seemed to have been targeted by the light of chaos. And then, one by one, their bodies exploded and they died. It was also at this moment that the figure of the Lord of Chaos appeared silently in the void above them. I have long said that before the qualification battles begin, do not cause any unnecessary trouble. But you guys just refuse to listen. Long Fei is the son of primal chaos that this reputed one has bestowed upon me. This time's execution is a precedent. It will serve as an example to others. After speaking, he began to fade away. Beneath him, Long Fei's fists were clenched so tightly that ka-ka sounds could be heard. Son of primal chaos. Long Fei had never forgotten. However, he did not take it seriously either. But now, after the Lord of Primal Chaos revealed this identity, he had actually placed Long Fei in the public eye. In just a short period of time, the Chaos Mountain began to spread like a rocket. The Lord of Primal Chaos controlling the qualification battles, and Long Fei was the son of the Primal Chaos, so such a subtle relationship instantly became the focus of discussion. Son of Primal Chaos? There must be something behind this. No wonder he's so awesome. So he actually has such a powerful background. If they want to play tricks on us, they'll have to ask the people of this world for permission. Even the Lord of Chaos can't force their way in. He's just a child of primal chaos. As long as he dies, he won't even have a chance to participate in the qualification battles. In a moment, countless speculations broke out, but everyone's attitude was surprisingly unified, and that was towards Long Fei. Did not care about being targeted. Did not care about being targeted. But the appearance of the Lord of Primal Chaos completely exposed Long Fei to the eyes of everyone present. All of the thoughts that Long Fei wanted to use to steal something were instantly hollowed out. Originally, Long Fei wanted to occupy a passive position and find an opportunity. He had obtained the inheritance of the 5 emperors. But this time, the Lord of Primal Chaos had actually pushed Long Fei out, to be targeted by everyone. In that case, it would be impossible to capture all of the 5 emperors' legacies in one fell swoop. F***CK. This is bad news for your father, Long Fei said coldly. At the same time, he was also wary of the Lord of Chaos. In other words, from the very beginning, Long Fei had never truly trusted the Lord of Primal Chaos. No, that can't be right. The position of the Lord of Chaos definitely can't be so small. If you point out my identity as the son of primal chaos at this time, you absolutely won't make me stand out and become the target of others' eyes. Of course, there are other conspiracies. As he thought about it, Long Fei's heart started to move. How could it be easy to be with Long Batian, the owner of this era? At this time, Li Yuanba, Yu Rou, and the others had also rushed over with cautious expressions. Even they knew that Long Fei's identity would be exposed at this time, and there would definitely be nothing good going on. Sure enough, the moment they arrived, the manor they were in was already surrounded. Thousands of people surrounded Long Fei and the others. "Boss, are we going to get dumplings?" Li Yuanba laughed foolishly, but he was not afraid at all. Almost instinctively, he stepped forward. However, Li Wuxin did not stop after him. He also stood forward. This was his mission. From a moment he recognized Long Fei as his boss, he had already been dead set. To live for Long Fei, to die for Long Fei. Next was Zhang Yu. The three of them were practically standing horizontally in front of the door, blocking everything outside. "Get the hell out of here. Sect of Infinitas is doing something." "Goddamn. So what if he's the son of primal chaos? Since he killed our young sect master, he has to give an explanation." "Oomph. The son of chaos. He isn't the son of the Lord of Chaos. Even if it is, there must be an explanation for the murder." The reprimands were extremely crazy. There was a fierce look on their faces. It seemed like they were here to denounce him. Furthermore, Long Fei had just killed the young master of the sect of Infinitas a few days ago. However, Long Fei did not believe it was that simple. He didn't come early, then he didn't come late. Why did he come here after the Lord of Primordial Chaos revealed my identity? Interesting. A cold light flashed across Long Fei's eyes. His instincts told him that this had something to do with the Lord of Chaos. Instantly, that harmless, benevolent smile flashed in his mind. There's a problem with Jubi. Long Fei thought. It could even be said that the mastermind behind all of this was the Lord of the Chaos. One had to know that the reason he had obtained the title of being the son of primal chaos was because he had killed Zhao Hao and the Zhao clan patriarch. And back then, a thought had descended on the main level of the primal chaos. At the same time Long Fei's identity was recognized, a rule had also appeared. In other words, today he was the son of primal chaos. But if someone killed him, that person would take his place. Furthermore, the sudden appearance of the sect of Infinitas was the most suitable explanation. Completely complementary. As for the relationship between the sect of Infinitas and the Lord of Primal Chaos, it could be said that there was no such thing as relationship. There was no need to guess. The Lord of the Chaos was so powerful, he had actually found a dog and had just toyed with it. Thinking about it, Long Fei's eyes turned playful. He slowly stepped forward. "So, you are here to interrogate me?" Long Fei said indifferently. "You're right, kid. If you know what's good for you, come out right now and kowtow and admit your mistake. Right? This will also give you a sense of dignity. Otherwise, once we make a move, you won't be able to do it, even if you have a few paragons under your command." The people from the sect of Infinitas shouted. He was so arrogant that he did not even put Long Fei in his eyes. It was as if everything had been arranged beforehand. Long Fei muttered to himself as he sneered, not saying a single word. But Li Yuanba had long since been unable to tolerate it. "What did you say?" Li Yuanba took a step forward, his aura exuding unceasingly. He stretched out his hand and grabbed the figure of a person, then slipped away. "Didn't you say that you're not afraid? Didn't you say that we can't do it as well? Try again?" Li Yuanba said coldly. "You." That person's eyes flashed. Under the suppression of Li Yuanba's aura, he did not even have the courage to open his mouth anymore. "Say it. Blame me? Ask your ancestors." "Ka." Asterisk Li Yuanba slightly exerted force, immediately ending the other party's name. "Who else? Who else came to criticize us? Step forward and let this old man see." Li Yuanba spat out and touched his shiny bald head. He was incomparably domineering. "Enough. No matter who it is, there must be an explanation for who killed them. Your power is very special, but you are not qualified to do as you wish. Suddenly, a voice came from the void. Shwa shwa shwa. Countless gazes shifted over. Whiz! A figure appeared out of nowhere with a spear strapped to his back. His eyes were ice cold. Long Fei's eyes were also slightly moved. This person's aura was not unfamiliar to him. He was a general of the Zhou clan. Li Wuxin and the others also felt that the atmosphere was unusual. Just as they were about to step forward, they suddenly stopped. The void erupted once again. So. 7 figures descended in a row. The inheritors of the 5 emperors, the Lin clan and the Gu clan of the divine space. A total of 7 people. This was their alliance. Killing to pay with one's life is a matter of course. What we hate the most is using our little cultivation base to run amok. If you do not help today, we will not help. If you guys make a move, then don't blame us for not being loyal. The Gu family member said. Long Fei laughed instead. What? You want to build a memorial archway after becoming a whore? Long Fei, just be cocky. Now, do you think you can remain safe and sound under the power of the entire sect of Infinitas? Do you think the 6 of them can still protect you? As long as they make a move, I'll catch all of you today. A Lin family member of the divine space spoke out. Long Fei maintained his composure. His expression did not change as he watched quietly. The people of Sect of Infinitas started to laugh crazily, feeling that Long Fei no longer had anything to rely on. Instantly, his confidence grew. Ha. Boy, there's no other way, right? Do you think you're the only one with a powerhouse? In this world, there are still loyal people. Today, even if the great Rudra Golden Immortal descends to the mortal world, no one can save you. Die. Ta. There were thousands of people from the sect of Infinitas S, and the encirclement was shrinking without end. Instantly, the situation was at Long Fei's disadvantage. But when she looked at Long Fei, there was not a single trace of worry. However, the coldness in his eyes only grew stronger. Is that so? Since that's the case, then don't waste any more time. All of you, let's attack together. In the face of absolute power, all schemes and tricks were useless. In the face of absolute power, all schemes and tricks were useless. On this primal chaos mountain, there were only 2 people that Long Fei feared. One was the Celestial Emperor, the other the Lord of Primordial Chaos. As for the others, sorry, Long Fei didn't even want to know who the other party was. Therefore, at this time, Long Fei didn't even want to waste time. He even had a crazy idea. Since you want to play the big game and push me to the public's doorstep, then I wonder if I kill all of them, how will I play the qualification battles? Long Fei thought coldly in his heart. The more he thought about it, the more unbridled Long Fei became in his heart. Not causing trouble, but it didn't mean he was afraid of trouble. So what if they are enemies of the divine space? So what if he was the successor of the 5 emperors? So what if it was the Lord of Chaos? One could not submit. It was just like steel. At this time, the person in front of Long Fei was also infuriated. Too casual. He completely ignored them. Don't waste your time. It made them feel a burning pain on their faces. He had spent so much effort and time and effort to come up with such an absolute plan. But good thing was, Long Fei did not care at all. Long Fei, do you think you still have the qualifications to be so arrogant? Even if your methods are impressive, we have already figured out long ago. You have consumed a lot of energy, so you can only kill one at a time. Also, your pubes' power has long been defeated by the Heavenly Emperor. What qualifications do you have to be so arrogant? As the Lin family's Fairy Lin spoke, her eyes glinted with a solemn light as she patiently endured her killing intent. However, his words resonated with the world. This was because the fewer methods Long Fei had, the more successful they would be. Therefore, he naturally would not miss this chance to belittle Long Fei. So that's how it is. So it's just a one-time use method. Silver spear wax cannot be used again. In that case, what is there to be afraid of? Go up, kill him. Killing intent flashed in the eyes of the people of Sect of Infinitas. They all started to move forward, wanted to take action. But Long Fei was still as relaxed as before. Even the little fellow in his embrace didn't show any signs of fear. On the other hand, the experiences since she was young made her a little timid. Even if he possessed earth-shattering power, he would still be extremely kind. Little fellow, protect little big sister today. Leave the rest to Dad. Long Fei put the little guy down. Dad, let's just forget about it. Why don't you just destroy those big guys and let me deal with this bunch of trash? Too annoying. Watching all this affects your mood. The little guy shook his head and said to Long Fei. Long Fei was startled. He didn't expect the little fellow to be so violent. He had completely inherited his own quintessence. If he was unhappy, then he would kill. Don't worry, there will be time for you to kill him. But now, it was still his father's era. Just watch. Ha-ha. Long Fei laughed loudly before turning around to look at the several thousand people in front of him. Cut the crap. Isn't your goal your father? Since you want to make a move, then let's fight. Long Fei said, as his killing weapon took the initiative to appear. In the next second, he locked onto the members of the Lin clan. A great killing weapon, Earth. Rumble, rumble, rumble. This time, Long Fei did not use the God of Heaven fanaticism. However, he had used the power that he had obtained from the hands of the Lin family. Instantly, the earth shook and rumbling sounds filled the air. With Long Fei's strength, it gave birth to boundless killing intent. Fire, Long Fei said again. On top of the killing weapon, another type of power erupted as a resplendent light flashed. Water, wind, swish swish. Yet another two surges of power. The entire killing weapon was glowing resplendently. At the same time, it also erupted with a destructive power. Earth, fire, water, wind. That's impossible. This is a secret technique of our Lin family. How could you learn it? Quick, stop him. Otherwise, the entire sect of Infinitas will no longer exist. Immediately, the expressions of the Lin clan members changed. At this moment, he was the clearest as to what kind of power this was. It was an area of effect attack. Once this power exploded, unless one was able to dodge it instantly, they would be shrouded and die without a doubt. In an instant, the five emperors' successor moved. An extremely strong power surged through his entire body. Their inherited intelligence cards surged through the skies and gathered together in an instant. But at that moment, Li Yuanba, Li Wuxin, Zhang Yu, and especially the gentle Lu Luoxi made their moves at the same time. Haha, there's no need to stop my boss. We are your opponents. Let's fight. Li Yuanba laughed and took the initiative to attack. He randomly picked an opponent and punched out. One punch exploded with absolute power. There was no fluctuation in the energy of the holy source, but it seemed to have detected the essence of the energy. He moved as if it were light, moving in extremely slow speed. In an instant, a punch had broken the concentration of energy in the surrounding area. Then it locked onto a person and punched out once more. At the same time, Li Wuxin and the others also made their moves. Each of them picked a person to act and moved swiftly through the air. On the field, the little guy could no longer hold himself back. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Dad, I want to go too. With that, without waiting for Long Fei's consent, the small figure immediately flew out. Seeing that the little guy was about to attack, the maidservants behind him panicked. Little fellow, don't run around. I'll protect you. Instantly, the power of longevity erupted from Yaya's body as it rumbled through the skies. Even the heaven and earth violently shook at this moment. It was as if the world was facing Aya, and it felt so shallow that it let out a loud rumble. And Long Fei did not stop them. Their cultivation was not weak, so Long Fei was not worried at all. Rather, he focused more on the power in his hands. At this moment, the four types of power had already been gathered to the limit on the killing tool. Killing intent spread. This was exactly the result that Long Fei wanted to see. The faces of the people from the sect of Infinitas were all pale. The pain was unbearable. Just the aura alone was enough to cause their minds to tremble. The crowd was panicking as they frantically tried to escape. However, the entire mountain had been set down by the Lord of Primordial Chaos. Anyone who wanted to fly would be completely crushed by it. Boom, boom, Boom! Countless people were running around randomly, but they couldn't get away. Haha, a bunch of useless brats. You want to blame them? Weakness is the biggest sin. Besides, if you don't have the strength to be a dog that bites, then you're even more guilty. No matter who you are, you will all die today. Saying that, Long Fei used his blade. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Rumble, rumble, rumble. For types of energy exploded from the blade. Mountains shattered, and the primal chaos reversed. It was like a desperate situation. As long as one was enveloped by the blade chi, they would instantly die. Puff, puff, puff. The sound shook the entire sect of Infinitas, and they all fell to the ground with broken limbs and broken bones. The members of the Lin clan were already hiding in the air, gasping for breath. There was still fear in his eyes. At this moment, his heart was incomparably shocked. Soldiers do not use blood blades. A single slash can kill 1,000 people. The highest realm of a spiritual immortal is only this much. Just how did he do it? The members of the Lin clan stared on helplessly, thoughts of retreat sprouting in their eyes. 1,000 men were not stained with blood. 1,000 men were not stained with blood. The cold wind was blowing, and the air was thick with blood. As for Long Fei, he closed his eyes, face full of enjoyment. He quietly waited. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing sect of Infinita's disciples. The reward is 10,000 experience points. Holy Source S worth 0, striking value S 1 point. Ding, ding, ding. Thousands of disciples. But this experience was pitifully little. Only a few thousand people gave tens of millions of experience, and even Holy Source had no value at all. But it's not over yet. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing sect of Infinita's elder. You have received 40,000 experience points, 40,000 Holy Source points, and 1 striking value point. Ding! Another string. Several tens of elders had once again brought Long Fei less than 1 billion experience. However, that was the end of his voice. In the distance, the sect master of the sect of Infinitas was severely injured, but he still managed to avoid it in the end. However, his face was filled with grief. He was completely dumbfounded, staring at the brutal scene in front of him. The reek of blood filled the air as he broke into tears. Ah, Long Fei, I will kill you. My sect of Infinitas. It's gone, it's all gone. The sect of Infinitas, Lord cried. But there was no response. In the distance, the surrounding spectators all sighed. Sigh, I never thought that Long Fei would actually be so powerful. Look, I've already said it before. How can someone who can make the inheritors of the 6 great emperors not be awesome? Look at the sect of Infinitas. That was a famous sect just now. Now, there's only one commander. We cannot provoke them. This guy is not to be trifled with. In that moment, everyone turned their gaze away, to the point where they did not even dare look at Long Fei. As for Long Fei, his gaze was cold and detached. All of this was something that the sect of Infinitas brought onto herself. Since he had chosen to be a biting dog, he had to be prepared to be cooked to kill. Whiz. In a single step, Long Fei took a step forward, and within a few kilometers, he arrived in front of the sect of Infinita's Lord. It seems, your master does not take you seriously. Long Fei ridiculed. He intentionally ridiculed the other party. Undisguised. Regarding the behind sect of Infinita's Lord, Long Fei had already guessed it. The reason why he was saying this now was for the sake of the Lord of Chaos. Long Fei, you're too presumptuous. The sect of Infinitas, Lord roared. His eyes were bloodshot and bloodshot. Impudent? So what if he was impudent? Do you have any objections? Long Fei did not have any scruples, and said forcibly, You? The sect of Infinitas, Lord pointed at Long Fei, but was unable to say a single word. Not impossible. He didn't dare to. In front of Long Fei, he really didn't have the qualifications to be arrogant. After saying just one more word, he was afraid that Long Fei would suddenly attack. Suddenly, a sense of sadness appeared in his heart. He looked up at the sky, helplessly. It was as if they were waiting for someone to appear. However, Aside from the overwhelming number of battle shadows, there was no other aura. Haha, Long Fei sneered. It was also at this time that the outcome of the battle in the void came to an end. The so-called successor of the Five Emperors was simply no match for him. Li Wuxin and the others directly refined the energy. It was a completely different concept when compared to obtaining the inheritance. The difference between the power of an emperor that he could unleash was extremely great. As for Li Yuanba, a pair of fists, he released even more power, looking down on the Zhou family generals who were fighting him, but they did not dare to fight against him, and were completely suppressed, their spears even broken. At this time, the entire sect of Infinitas was annihilated. The so-called Five Emperors' successor did not even have the intention to continue fighting. He turned around and began to flee for his life. The members of the Gu family, under the power of the little guy Inya, also instantly lost their temper. He was completely toyed with by the little fellow. Boom, boom, boom. The Gu family expert also wanted to leave, but the little guy wouldn't allow it. God of Underworld looked down at the world, his hands playing with the universe. It was all filled with the netherworld spiritual energy. Besides, he wasn't just standing there idly watching. A desire to protect. Even if the little fellow was very strong, it would still use all its strength to burst forth with the power of its longevity and protect the little fellow within. What was even stranger was the power of longevity and power of nether. It was incomparably savage. One kind of power was limitless life force. The other power was filled with an aura of death. The two types of attacks intersected. It was a life or death exchange. The limitless life force was for sure, but when it came to the Gu family's experts, it was taken away. The little guy's power was even more direct as he struck down with his palm. Endless death energy swirled around him, expelling the Gu family's experts' life force. Joining hands with Yai to fight the enemy, they complemented each other. The experts of the Gu family were tormented to the point that they were on the verge of death. Boom! In just a few moments, the Gu family expert had completely disappeared. Bones covered in skin. Not even a sliver of life force remained in his body. Even his health point had become the last trace of blood. Threatening my dad, go to hell. The little guy was unwilling to let it go. In the end, he sent a slap over and it was over. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing the Gu family's powerhouse. You have obtained 100 million experience points, 100,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Ding! Congratulations player for obtaining Nether Underworld Fire Armor. Ding! Congratulations player for obtaining the Netherworld Fist. Ding! Congratulations player on obtaining Netherworld Boots. Ding! Congratulations player for obtaining the Netherworld Crown. Long Fei was startled, listening to the system prompt. He was slightly taken aback. This time, he actually dropped a set. Furthermore, impartiality was something that the little fellow could use. This is a F*King welfare baby. All the super artifact are awesome. Long Fei was extremely happy. He turned around and looked at Sect of Infinita's Lord. He couldn't let it go. Since the Gu family's experts could explode, then these people might explode as well. After all, although the system was harsh on him, he still had some pride. Experience was only a small part of it, and it had to be compensated in other ways. Instantly, the killing intent in Long Fei's eyes erupted. Sect of Infinita's Lord's face changed. A look of panic appeared on his face. In this instant, he felt Long Fei's body emit a monstrous killing intent. He already knew that he was doomed. No, Long Fei, don't kill me. I'm just a little kid. Let me go, I'll tell you more. I know who's after you. As long as you let me go, I'm willing to be your dog and bite back. Secta of Infinita's Lord started to beg for mercy. Panic filled his eyes as he prostrated himself on the floor. Wrong. First, I don't need a dog. 2. Behind you, even if you turn around, you will still be biting off more than you can chew. 3. A dog. Do you think you're qualified to negotiate with me? Long Fei said coldly. With a cold smile on his face, he took a step forward. But right at this moment, beyond the chaos, a pair of hands suddenly stretched out and stopped in front of Long Fei. Long Fei, enough. How far do you want to go? His voice was mighty, and under his rage, it suffused the air with pressure. Supreme auras descended one after another. There was no need to think about it. Long Fei had already guessed who it was. Causing trouble? Who the hell messed with you? Now you've said enough? This matter was caused by them, and now that your father is making a move, you say it's enough? I said, not enough. A single roar pierced through the sky. A single roar pierced through the sky. These two words were not enough to fully express Long Fei's attitude. So what if it was the Celestial Emperor? And it wasn't even one of the Lord of Chaos's dogs. Even the Lord of Primal Chaos, Long Fei, was already prepared to clash with him head-on. At the same time, following after the end of the word, Long Fei also did not pay any attention to her either. The explosion of a rank 8 attack directly shattered the world. Moreover, his fist did not fall. Punch after punch was thrown out. Bang, bang. There was no difference. Even the palm of the Celestial Emperor instantly collapsed. At the same time, another sword fell from the sky. It was incomparably sharp. It was as if the sharp aura of heaven and earth was condensed into a sword. Sword of the Emperor, descend. The voice of the Celestial Emperor sounded out once again, and at the same time, a venerable one appeared in the air. The supreme and unparalleled, incomparably revered. This was a throne bestowed by the heavens, one with the heavens and one with the earth. Even though the Lord of the Chaos was a special figure, no one dared to break the rules set down by him. The Celestial Emperor could be the only surprise. Rumble. Chaos shattered. The Celestial Emperor soared through the skies, a golden sword at his side. At this moment, streams of Emperor's Tao aura were gushing out from it. With a wave of his hand, he transformed into a stream of sword chi that descended violently. In the blink of an eye, countless sword chis split apart the primal chaos and formed a policy, heading straight for Long Fei. Long Fei's eyes were cold. The killing weapon had already appeared in his hand. Celestial Emperor was no ordinary figure. Long Fei dared to underestimate him. After all, this was a position bestowed by the heavens in the unknown region of the primal chaos, and it was supported by some sort of special power. However, even so, it was impossible to make Long Fei retreat. Facing the heavenly emperor, Long Fei did not retreat, even after risking his life in battle last time. Now that his cultivation had risen, he wouldn't cower in fear either. Instantly, Long Fei moved. Earth, fire, water, wind. Kill. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The moment the saber came out, 4 types of power instantly swept out. Long Fei, do you think that your 7th level of the ancient era is enough to contend against this emperor? Not last time, and not this time either. Sword of the Emperor's Tao, appear. Shwa, shwa, shwa. The sword beam shot into the sky, clashing with Long Fei's blade. Boom! All of a sudden, the entire primal chaos mountain once again rumbled and shook violently. The sword light instantly transformed into 10 million sword lights. The skies above the mountain of primal chaos were crisscrossed with each other to form a world of blade energy. Long Fei's figure was also submerged within. Father. The little guy's eyes were filled with anxiety. He wanted to rush out regardless of anything else, but was stopped by Yuro. Don't worry, your father will definitely be fine. Yuro comforted him. However, there was a slight tremble in his voice. Li Yuanba, Li Wuxin, and the rest were also staring intently at Long Fei, who was trapped by the sword chi, their faces full of excitement. He couldn't wait to make a move. However, they knew that the power of a heavenly emperor was not something that they could compare with. At this time, if they made a move, they would be causing trouble for Long Fei. Not only would they not be able to help Long Fei, they would even drag him down. All of them could only endure it and stare at the battlefield with bloodshot eyes. In the distance, Sect of Infinita's lord and the Zhou family's Lin family member heaved a sigh of relief. If it wasn't for the arrival of the Celestial Emperor, they definitely wouldn't have been able to escape death. Long Fei was too tyrannical. Their level of power was completely beyond their imagination. They originally thought that they understood everything about Long Fei, but now it seemed that it was just the tip of the iceberg. So close, I didn't expect this kid's foundation to be so deep. Before the killing move was even unleashed, it had already completely defeated us. Right. Looks like we can only rely on the Celestial Emperor. The Lin clan and the Zhou clan members looked at each other as they spoke. Their figures moved, concealing themselves in the mountain of primal chaos. Only the sect of Infinita's lord was extremely excited, as if he had been injected with chicken blood. Ha, die. You reckless fool still dares to talk back to the Celestial Emperor. Heaven Emperor is a heavenly emperor. You, a mere trash, actually dared to challenge the might of the heavens. Your death is not worthy of lament. I'll see how you die this time. Sect of Infinita's lord laughed crazily. It was almost crazed, but in the next moment, the smile on his face froze. He looked at the sight in front of him with disbelief. No, impossible. How is this possible? How could you be unharmed under the attack of the Heavenly Emperor? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Ah, Lord Heavenly Emperor, save me. In a moment, the sect of Infinita's lord screamed in pain as his body continuously lashed out with his hind legs. And in front of him, Long Fei's figure had already appeared amidst the sword images that filled the sky. The killing weapon was placed in front of his chest and immediately turned into a shield, isolating all of the sword images. Yell? Do you think that just because your master came out, you are awesome? What I don't know is that the Celestial Emperor in your eyes is just a dog in front of me. If he's really that awesome, then what was he doing when I destroyed the Heavenly Empire? When Laozi destroyed his Heavenly Emperor Palace, where was he? Long Fei said as he walked forward, step by step. When his voice fell, he had already appeared in front of the sect of Infinita's lord. Ka! Asterisk the foot landed. The sect of Infinita's master's entire body sunk into the ground. He spat out a mouthful of blood and could not stop. You, sect of Infinita's lord's eyes were filled with unwillingness, wanting to say something. Unfortunately, there was no more aura left. Then his neck tilted and he died. Even his soul was squashed by Long Fei and easily shattered. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing sect of Infinita's lord. You have obtained 70,000 experience, 70,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value. The system notification popped up. However, the set that Long Fei had imagined did not burst out. He couldn't help but feel slightly disappointed. Striking value, release. Long Fei said solemnly, without hesitation. The accumulation of striking value was very easy to use, but it was rarely used. Long Fei had originally planned to use it when facing the boss. However, now that the Heavenly Emperor had made his move, it would be unrealistic for him to want all of them to stay, except for the fact that he was going to ignore the Lord of the Chaos and directly flame at the Celestial Emperor. But now was not the time. Therefore, Long Fei chose to use his striking value to explode on the sect of Infinita's lord's body. Ding! Congratulations, player, on obtaining Extinction Sword. Ding! Congratulations, player, for obtaining the Sky Sovereign Seal. Ding! Congratulations, player, for obtaining the Sky Spear. Ding! Congratulations, player, for obtaining the Rotten Tablet. Ding! Congratulations, player, for obtaining the Book of Life. When the system's voice fell, Long Fei was unable to calm down for a long time. This time was too crazy. Last time it was just a suit. But this time, he actually dropped his 6 Emperor armor, which completely exceeded Long Fei's expectations. Ha, great. With these, their combat power will rise to another level. Long Fei laughed crazily in his heart. In his heart, he was even faintly thanking the Celestial Emperor. If not for the Sky Emperor personally making a move, killing the sect of Infinita's lord would not have been difficult at all, and it would not have been possible for it to explode like this. But on the surface, Long Fei would never say that. Sky Emperor, are you still going to attack? This time, you won't be able to protect sect of Infinita's dogs. Next time, I can guarantee you won't be able to protect the 2 pieces of trash from the divine space either. Pride, disregard. Pride, disregard. So what if you're sitting high up in the altar? You can't even protect the people I kill." He sneered coldly, his voice filled with endless ridicule. Long Fei raised his head and looked at the heavenly emperor, his eyes filled with contempt. He didn't care at all. Boom! In the air, the face of the celestial emperor, who was sitting on the throne, turned red as he was unable to contain his anger. With a casual wave of his hand, multiple layers of chaotic clouds collapsed, shaking the void. Long Fei, the celestial emperor, said solemnly, "Grandpa is here." Long Fei said. It was still insanity, and even the celestial emperor wouldn't let Long Fei restrain himself. The anger in the heavenly emperor's eyes burned. He stared straight at Long Fei. Waves after waves of killing intent brewed on his body, and the overflowing hatred turned into killing intent, enveloping downwards. However, it was completely useless against Long Fei. He wanted to kill Long Fei, and Long Fei wanted to kill him too. The moment his killing intent exploded, Long Fei immediately reacted, releasing the killing aura from the killing weapon, which instantly disappeared. Immediately, the heavenly emperor's pupils constricted, and he blocked Long Fei in private. Just what did he experience? How could he suddenly become so strong? The celestial emperor thought uneasily. In just a few short days, he actually was somewhat unable to see through Long Fei. He had been like an ant, killing and seizing everything with a single thought. But now, his sword of the great way of the emperor actually did not harm Long Fei in the slightest. "No, I have to die. If this child doesn't die, he will definitely become a great disaster in the future," the Sky Emperor thought to himself as he glanced at Long Fei, before he suddenly turned around. At the same time, those people hiding behind the back of the Celestial Emperor also left. Even the Heavenly Emperor had left. Who would still dare be arrogant in front of Long Fei? Long Fei did not move. When the Heavenly Emperor's aura completely disappeared, Long Fei then secretly heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, his eyes darkened and he fainted. Instantly, Lu Luoshi took a big stride forward and caught him. After the endless primordial chaos, the Lord of Chaos retracted his gaze. "Go ahead and kill them. The entire primal chaos region should have been cleaned up long ago. However, that isn't enough. Wait until blood spreads throughout the entire primal chaos mountain. Only then will I be able to be proud and arrogant." Emperor Xian, foreign powerhouse, Long Batian, and that woman. When my true self returns, I will make sure that there will never be a peaceful day for all the realms. The Lord of the Chaos was hysterical, and his every word was filled with a monstrous hatred. It was also at this time the entire primal chaos heavens suddenly darkened. The blood-red clouds covered the entire mountain. Rumble. The entire primal chaos mountain was in an uproar. It was as if there was something suppressing this mountain, and it was trying to break free. Instantly, the divine senses of the powerhouse started to scan the area. In the blink of an eye, waves of wails and howls could be heard from all directions. It was as if these things were not to be coveted or spied upon. Fortunately, this change did not last long. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared. Therefore, the change this time did not attract too much attention. The only thing they thought was that Long Fei had killed too many people, which resulted in the Lord of Primal Chaos's displeasure. Imperceptibly, Long Fei carried another big blame. However, at this time, Long Fei was completely unaware of everything. The current him was extremely weak. What should we do? Long Fei's aura is getting weaker and weaker. Lu Luoshi's face showed incomparable hesitation. His eyes were swollen from crying. No, definitely not. Who can hurt father when he's so strong? Uncles, little aunties, quickly make your move. Save my father. The little fellows kneeled down one by one, and their foreheads were smacked with blood. The little guy controls the power of Nether. He could clearly feel that the vitality on Long Fei's body was constantly decreasing. Even if Yai were to continuously use the energy of her longevity to replenish it, it would be useless. Almost every second, Long Fei's body would release a deathly aura. Puff! He had coughed out a mouthful of blood, but was powerless to continue. "Boss!" Li Yuanba was flabbergasted, his eyes turned red. How was this possible? He has gone through so many difficulties and was clearly fine before. How did he become like this all of a sudden? Li Yuanba was almost going crazy. His entire body was also in a berserk state, releasing the power of his berserk mode. Calm down, Yuanba, calm down. Something must have happened that we don't know about. The Heavenly Emperor's Sword of the Way simply wasn't able to harm Long Fei at all. We simply do not know what happened. If we act rashly, it might affect Long Fei. As he spoke, his face turned pale. Instantly, everyone looked over. The little fellow's eyes lit up. Second Mother, have you deduced something? The little fellow hurriedly asked. However, Euro shook her head. I didn't manage to deduce anything. It's as if the power of the sky spill has touched upon a force that cannot be desecrated. Even I was struck by the backlash. However, I am certain that Long Fei is all right. All we can do now is wait. Wait for Long Fei to wake up. Yu had a determined look on her face. Instantly, everyone in the room went silent and looked at Long Fei in unison. At this moment, in a world of confusion and infinity, Long Fei was frantically trying to break through. Boom, boom, boom. Again and again. As if he did not know exhaustion, Long Fei violently waved his fist. However, every time he did so, he would return empty-handed. The energy from the explosion would disappear without a trace, like a clay ox entering the sea. The heck? What kind of place is this? Long Fei was extremely depressed. After the Heavenly Emperor's figure disappeared, Long Fei relaxed. However, he was suddenly dragged into this world by a huge pulling force. In fact, Long Fei could feel that his main body's energy was also disappearing non-stop. Who is it? Who exactly is it? Long Fei roared. Brat, stop screaming. The last time I let you go, if it wasn't for me, you would have already become a dead man. Now, it's time for you to repay me. Suddenly, a voice rang out. Suddenly, Long Fei tensed up. This voice was too familiar. It was too intimidating, as though the words were stuck in his throat, causing Long Fei's mind to instantly quiver. Long Batian? As expected, you are still here. Long Fei muttered to himself, his eyes cold. When they had destroyed the Heavenly Emperor Palace, he had already noticed Long Batian's little trick, but because of the qualification battles, he did not take it to heart. Who would have thought that he would fall here today? Kid, you are in a very dangerous situation. I don't dare to communicate with you in the outside world. I can only drag you into my Wanxiang realm. Long Batian's voice sounded again, and extremely weak. Even without saying a single word, he still felt a sense of doom. What do you mean? Long Fei did not believe him and remained on his guard. The Lord of all Fiends' goal isn't that simple. Do you think that the person before you is the Lord of all Fiends? Long Batian said. His voice carried a bit of hatred. Not the Lord of Chaos. Long Fei was shocked. His heart instantly turned cold. Endless viciousness, bone-blood chills. Endless viciousness, bone-blood chills. Long Batian's words gave rise to thousands of guesses in his heart. It was as if he had been covered by an endless amount of schemes. His heart trembled. That's impossible. If it wasn't for the Lord of Primordial Chaos, how could it have possessed such tremendous power? Long Fei asked. Long Batian's words were simply too inconceivable. In this world, there are countless powerhouses. Do you think you're so awesome now? The difference is too great. There's also that Heaven Emperor from before, that dog shit of a Heavenly Emperor's position. It's merely the source energy that Laozi absorbed in order to expel the people from the outside world. Long Batian said with extreme disdain. But after he finished speaking, his voice suddenly disappeared. Even the entire space was unstable. It seemed to consume a huge amount of energy. Long Fei's eyes lit up. He didn't care too much who the Lord of Chaos was. If he couldn't figure out, Long Fei didn't want to waste his brain cells. On the other hand, after Long Batian threw up all over, Long Fei took this opportunity. He punched out. It was facing the weakest link in this space. Boom. Asterisk. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Long Fei seemed to have exploded with almost all of his strength. Unfortunately, it was useless. The immense rebound made Long Fei fall to the ground once again. Damn, how stubborn. In Long Fei's eyes, there was unwillingness, and he was about to attack again. But in this instant, the entire Wanxiang world began to change. The boundless space began to shrink, almost to the point that one could see it with the naked eye. In just an instant, it had already shrunk to the size of a circumference of 10,000 kilometers. The naked eye can see all the contours. Immediately, Long Fei was stupefied. As the space continued to shrink, the pressure grew stronger and stronger. It was as though this entire space was a small plane. However, in this world, his own power was like an ant among ants. Just his aura was enough to kill him. Long Batian, what are you trying to do? In that moment, Long Fei became anxious and asked coldly, "What is it? Brat, did you forget that I said I wanted to take something from you?" Long Batian said. His voice was laced with killing intent. Long Fei's heart tensed up, his pupils constricted, as he surveyed his surroundings, full of vigilance. He was certain that Long Batian was definitely in this space. In fact, it was right in front of him. However, he wasn't able to notice it. However, Long Batian didn't speak anymore after that sentence, which made Long Fei feel a little relaxed. With a determined mind, Long Fei opened his mouth and said, "Long Batian, let's get straight to the point. The current you probably doesn't have the ability to reap anything from me. Otherwise, you don't need to drag me into your Wanxiang realm at this time." Long Fei said. Who is Long Batian, the #1 powerhouse? If it was really Director Gu something first, he wouldn't have asked so politely. There must be a reason why he dragged Long Fei into this space. As expected, Long Batian immediately became silent. And this also showed that Long Fei was right. Long Fei was not in a rush, and in his heart, he was even more certain of his guess. After a while, Long Batian opened his mouth. "You're right, my current strength is indeed insufficient to deal with you." But the words just now weren't alarmist. The current you, one step wrong, you will never be able to recover. Long Batian said this in an extremely serious tone. Long Fei's expression suddenly became serious. To be able to make Long Batian say the words beyond redemption, how violent must the power he faced must be? Is it that serious? Long Fei asked. He had always known that his appearance was dangerous. The Celestial Emperor, the Lord of the Chaos, every single one of them was a potential threat. However, it was never treated as an insurmountable existence. After all, he had his own back to rely on. At most, he would just be tough. But now, he heard Long Batian's words. Long Fei started to hesitate, deep in thought, because now, his brothers, his women, and even his children, they were all on the primal chaos mountain. If something unexpected were to happen, even if he died, Long Fei would not forgive himself. Yes, and more serious than you think. Long Batian's words resonated. The current Lord of Primordial Chaos is not his true body at all. It is just a thought left behind after his death in battle, the embodiment of cultivation, an incomplete existence that has gone through the ages of time and space. As he spoke, the entire spatial pattern fluctuated, and a blurry figure gradually appeared. Long Fei was instantly attracted, his eyes locking onto her, and even becoming nervous. But Long Batian did not mind, and continued. There is no mistake about this. The so-called qualification battles are only controlled by him. His goal was to let the blood of countless powerhouse splatter all over this primal chaos mountain, fusing his already withered real phase with the primal chaos and breaking out from the earth. Long Batian said, "Are you talking about the true form of the Lord of Primordial Chaos at the foot of the mountain?" Long Fei was shocked at first, but soon after, he became ecstatic. If what Long Batian said was true, he had been so powerful just by cultivating with a single thought. He had been in charge of this for so many years, as well as the qualification battles and the 13 emperors. All of that was for the sake of regaining his physical body. Then how strong was his physical body? If he could obtain this power. Instantly, Long Fei's mind was flooded with thoughts. Brat, stop daydreaming. The current you, even if it's the corpse of the primal chaos, will be able to annihilate you in an instant. Long Batian showed no mercy and directly ridiculed him. Don't say it's that awesome. If it's really that powerful, then who in this chaotic world can stop him from breaking out from the earth? Long Fei said. Although he agreed with Long Batian's words, he did not want to show weakness. He's just that awesome. How could you imagine the people of the ancient world? Long Batian continued to belittle him. It was as if Long Fei was just a country bumpkin who didn't know anything, a mountain villager walking into a big city for the first time. What are you talking about? Since I'm already so powerful, I'll just wait for my death. The reason you pulled me in was to tell me that I don't have to struggle anymore. Can I just wait for my death now? Long Fei's anger rose. He just could not stand Long Batian's attitude. It was as if the ancient world was their grandpa and they were all their grandsons. If he was given enough time, who would beat him to death? Long Batian stared blankly, completely unaware of the fact that Long Fei was not giving him any face at all. However, he didn't care too much about it. After all, he had been by Long Fei's side for a long time. He was very clear about Long Fei's temper. All right, let's cut the crap. Long Fei, I know that you have a method that allows you to kill people above your level. But with your current level, it's still not enough. There is only one way to solve this dilemma. That means I have reached the level of Paragon. Only in this way would it be possible to prevent the Lord of Chaos from breaking through the mountain and resolving the current situation. You can only go further, Long Batian said in a serious tone. Ancient Secret World, Zhou Mountain. Ancient Secret World, Zhou Mountain. Emperor Xian, who was in closed-door training, opened his eyes. The competition for the God of Boundary is finally about to begin. This time it's my chance. I want to use my own blood to establish my name. What is true invincibility? What Long Batian? What master of primal chaos? They have all given me a stepping stone to invincible ancient world. I'm the only one who is eternal. With that, the Emperor Xian stood up and looked down the Zhou Mountains at the ashes that had long since ceased to exist, his eyes filled with disdain. He then moved his hands and tore open the space. The primordial chaos. The endless primordial chaos. The Lord of primordial chaos's face changed as well. He stared at the air above the ancient world, changing constantly. Emperor Xian, damn it, why did you come back at this time? I hope you won't disturb my affairs. However, that's unlikely. The unknown is vast and boundless. I have the endless primal chaos method, so it's not a big deal to stop him. Furthermore, that person should not agree to allow Emperor Xian to enter into an unknown place. No matter how strong he is, he's just a dog from outside this region. He shouldn't be crazy enough to stop me. In a few days, as long as I wait for a few more days, the chaotic mountain will be a river of blood, and great events can occur at any time. After saying that, the Lord of Primal Chaos's gaze immediately locked onto Long Fei. Instantly, he couldn't sit still any longer. What about the soul? Impossible. How could it be dying? The Heavenly Emperor's power can't hurt him at all. No, he can't die. He is the key to this situation. Without his power, how would I be able to break through the Primal Chaos Mountain? In the blink of an eye, the Lord of Primordial Chaos disappeared. In the next moment, it landed right where Long Fei was. Boom, boom. The huge fluctuation of energy made the faces of Li Yuanba and the others change. Almost instinctively, he protected Long Fei in the middle. The Lord of Primordial Chaos. Yu Rou took the lead, blocking the Lord of All Fiends' path. Has a problem. With your means, you can't save him at all. Let me do it. The Lord of Chaos panted, his eyes blood red. The aura on his body fluctuated. He appeared to be extremely unsettled. Or perhaps the current him was no longer able to remain calm. Long Fei was the key to breaking through, and now he was actually on the verge of death. How could he maintain his calm under these circumstances? In that moment, Yu Rou and the others hesitated. They never thought that the Lord of Primal Chaos would be able to see through Long Fei's wrongdoings with a single sentence. In the blink of an eye, it was difficult to make a decision. because they were truly helpless to do anything. In comparison, the Lord of the Primal Chaos was more likely to save Long Fei. But right at this moment, an aura instantly erupted from Long Fei's body. The aura of death vanished, and endless life force surged. It was so thick that it felt like Long Fei himself was a moving spring of life. Even the people guarding beside him felt incomparably comfortable. Ha ha, Senior, you are too courteous. I was just joking with my woman. I didn't expect that even you would be alarmed. Long Fei laughed loudly. As for the reason why he was addressed as Senior, it was naturally because of the ancient jade pendant. Even though Long Fei still had not figured out how his grandfather could be related to the Lord of Primal Chaos, but was called that, at the very least, he would be able to dispel the suspicions of the other party. Indeed, the eyes of the Lord of Primal Chaos slightly moved, staring at Long Fei without saying a word. At this moment, he was also puzzled. He had clearly felt that Long Fei was already about to die and that his soul was not present. But at this moment, he woke up. Not only that, even his aura was stronger than before. Still, the Lord of all fiends maintained his calm. Without saying anything, he turned around and left. It was only until his figure disappeared that a thought came to him from the void. Long Fei, don't disappoint me. You should know what you're carrying. The reason I revealed your identity was to put pressure on you. Before the qualification battles begin, I hope you can become stronger. The Lord of Primal Chaos's voice transmitted into Long Fei's ears, word for word. If it was before, Long Fei might have doubted it. But now everything was clear. No matter how much the Lord of Primordial Chaos did, it was all for the things at the foot of the mountain. Since that was the case, how could Long Fei allow him to do as he pleased? Old fox, you're still pretending? If it wasn't for Long Batian, this daddy here might have been played by you, old thing, as a fool. Long Fei thought. However, there was no change on his face. He wasn't prepared to speak of this matter. Rather than sending his brothers and women into a panic, it would be better for him to carry it alone. As for leaving, it was even more impossible. Right now, the entire chaotic mountain was under the control of the Lord of Primordial Chaos. Every single movement of his would affect the other side's mental state. If they really left, they would be surrounded by the Lord of Primal Chaos within a few breaths of time. Strength, strength, a paragon, still 3 levels away. Long Shi's eyes became serious as he clenched his fists. At the same time, Lu Luoshi and the rest also approached. Hubby, are you all right? Yeah. Hubby, you scared us to death just now. Lu Luoshi and Yu Ro spoke up one after the other, endless care and concern in their eyes. Huh? How could anything happen to me? I'm just joking with you guys. Long Fei said casually. Dad, what kind of technique is this? It's so strange. I feel that after your death, the aura on your body has become stronger. The little guy moved into Long Fei's embrace and asked with a puzzled expression. Father will teach you when there's a chance. However, right now, the qualification battles are about to begin. Dad will also have to go into seclusion for a few days. I believe that no one will come and cause trouble for you in the next few days. Long Fei said. Time was of the essence. Long Fei didn't have any more time to wait. Gentle as it was good to have a deep fatherly love. If the Lord of all fiends was able to succeed in his scheme, then all of this would cease to exist. Therefore, Long Fei had to level up. After that, Long Fei gave the 6 Emperor armor to the 6 of them and threw the big killing weapon to Li Yuanba. Yuanba. The killing weapon is as you wish, familiarize yourself with it. Long Fei said, Boss, that won't do. If you give me that killing tool, what do you want? Li Yuanba did not accept and immediately shook his head. Don't worry, you've been with me for so long. Have you seen me lacking magical equipment before? Long Fei smiled mysteriously. They waited for the crowd to disperse. Long Fei called out to Yu Ro and Lu Luoshi. The 2 ladies instantly blushed. Needless to say, he could already guess what Long Fei was planning. Haha, it's better to be separated from your family for a little while. Today, your husband will eat everything. Long Fei laughed out wildly, casually waved his hand, and pulled the two girls into his embrace. Then, the lights dimmed and they all fell asleep together. That night, Long Fei tossed and turned the entire night. He finally experienced how blissful it was to have a woman with the strength of Emperor Yen Tian. A fox spirit was ever-changing, and it wanted to seduce people even more. In short, this night, Long Fei enjoyed all the blessings of his nature, and it rained on Wu Mountain the whole night. The next morning, after the two girls left, Long Fei immediately went into closed-door cultivation. Long Fei's eyes moved. He said, "Long Batian, let's begin." Wanxiang heaven and earth. Wanxiang heaven and earth. Wanxiang heaven and earth. Wanxiang heaven and earth. This was Long Batian's sacred art. What he had was not only eternal strength. When he was here, all of ancient world's power was blank. All the powers of the world's Wanxiang were within his control, and his power was the ruler of all things in the world. It was the only thing in the world. With just a thought, all sorts of images gathered. It became a divine ability. The Wanxiang world. "Kid, have you made up your mind?" Long Batian asked. Still somewhat hesitating, he looked at Long Fei. "Stop bullshitting. Aren't you waiting for me the same thing? If I'm not strong, do you think you still have a chance?" Long Fei said. Long Batian's hesitation made him feel pain in the ass. No matter what, he was ancient world's #1 powerhouse. What was there to be afraid of? I was just afraid that you wouldn't be able to bear it. Afterwards, I once again cut off my hope. Long Batian said. Just as Long Fei wanted to speak, he found that he was no longer able to speak. The world in front of his eyes had undergone earth-shattering changes. Rumbling filled the air. The world began to change. The stars were as though they were being updated. Everything returned to the ancient era, and the aura surged like tides. Long Fei was stunned. Looking at the ever-changing scene before him, he grew excited. This was too crazy. Everything was completely different from what Long Fei had experienced. From the gods' martial continent onwards, Long Fei had been refreshed with his worldview countless of times. But compared to everything else, it was just a small kiss. There was no way to compare. Everything before Long Fei made him feel like an ant. The mountains were overlapping, and each of them was hundreds of thousands of kilometers high. This made Long Fei truly feel it. The feeling of the hand, being able to pluck stars. As for the enormous planet, it was even more visible. He could feel waves of coldness from his hand. "Kid, are you ready? My sacred art can only be triggered once. If you don't pursue the true meaning of the ancient times, then your power will be enhanced once more. In fact, I might even allow you to undergo a metamorphosis from the very beginning to the very end, planting a foundation of the great Tao to condense your own strength. Remember, I'm talking about my own power," Long Batian said with an incomparably firm voice. And at this moment, Long Fei's heart began to tremble from the distance. Looking at Long Batian, the expression in his eyes changed slightly. His own strength. These 5 words, to Long Fei, were simply something that he had always desired. Strength. Powerful. He himself. This was what Long Fei had always desired. He had previously cultivated with the elder swordsman for a period of time. At that time, Long Fei truly felt the uniqueness of his own strength. However, he couldn't keep up with the enemy because of his own strength. You can only rely on the system. But now, Long Batian's words ignited hope in Long Fei's heart once again. Ancient world, the root of the Great Way. Since it was the root, it would bear fruit in the future. This was his chance. In that case, what was formed was naturally his Tao fruit. Instantly, Long Fei got excited. It was as if he had been injected with chicken blood. His eyes were bloodshot and filled with madness. "Come on, cut the crap. I don't believe that the ancient world is so awesome that he could kill me. If you don't die, then die," Long Fei bellowed, his eyes filled with determination. Boom! At the same time, Long Batian was also infuriated by Long Fei's attitude, causing the entire Wanxiang heaven and earth to change. Mountains rose up from the ground. It was as if every mountain was a world. One world. A continent. Crack, crack, crack. It began to split apart violently, breaking up into countless pieces, causing the space around it to begin to rapidly drop down. A plane was separated. Instantly, Long Fei's head hurt. An inexhaustible pressure assaulted his face. A single mountain was separated into countless planes. What about stars? What about Wang Yang? A lucky chance. This is definitely a lucky chance. Long Fei was extremely excited. He finally understood why Long Batian kept asking him questions. Because of this lucky chance, it had never happened before in history. Simply put, it was likely that such a fortuitous encounter was something that even Long Batian himself yearned for. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Fishing continues. Even though it was only a sacred art, Long Fei was still shocked. Just as he had guessed, the stars in the sky also began to change. They turned into thousands of stars, and it was as if the heavens and the earth were split open as they turned into the stars in the sky. The entire process happened extremely quickly, so quickly that it surpassed Long Fei's imagination. It was completed in the space of a few breaths. Long Fei opened his eyes and remained motionless, afraid to miss every detail. At this moment, he did not use any of the system's power. Relying entirely on his own eyes to capture, he would engrave everything he saw into his mind. Even his hands were constantly moving, as if he was lecturing the changes in the Wanxiang world and imitating some sort of trajectory. In the blink of an eye, time vanished. Long Fei was also completely immersed in this state, completely addicted. His entire being seemed to have become incomparably ancient. His face also became unshaven, and his hair began to grow at a speed visible to the naked eye. Then it turned white. Blue hair. In the blink of an eye, it was as if Long Fei had completely merged with the Wanxiang world as it changed, becoming a part of the Wanxiang adept's world, following the other party's changes. Somewhere, Long Batian looked at everything that was happening in front of him and was extremely shocked. He actually has this kind of comprehension ability. I never would have thought that you would be the one to achieve it. However, it's not that easy to obtain my things. This time, if you are unable to overcome the obstacle before you, don't blame me for taking this from you. Long Batian's pupils contracted as a bright light flashed, and he spoke word by word. Regarding all of this, Long Fei did not detect anything. He was still on his own. His entire body seemed to have fallen into a stupor as he stood there majestically without moving. And at this time, the entire Wanxiang heaven and earth. The rate of change was already extremely slow. The number of stars could no longer be counted. Countless mountains and rivers had turned into countless plains. The levels were clear. Order. And right at the very top was the ancient world. Long Fei himself was like a spectator, living his time alone outside this world. So it turned out to be, this is the very beginning of ancient world. The myriad worlds, myriad worlds, myriad worlds, and myriad planes were actually formed in this manner. Long Fei muttered as he woke up from his petrification. Slowly, he opened his eyes. In an instant, a ray of light shot out from his eyes. Brilliant heaven and earth. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Crack, crack, crack. Instantly, the entire Wanxiang world seemed to be on the verge of being shattered as it was seen through by Long Fei with a single glance. Even Long Fei himself did not know this, but it was as if the entire ancient world was contained within his eyes as all sorts of changes occurred and were reflected in them. At the same time, within the pubes, a black profound bead deeply rooted itself inside. Countless ancient auras were being emitted from it. Damn, this thing. Could it be the Great Way's root that Long Batian mentioned? Long Fei's eyes lit up. He could not wait to understand more. But right at this moment, a wave of dizziness hit him. The Wanxiang heaven and the earth shattered. When his consciousness returned, Long Fei sat up once again. When his consciousness returned, Long Fei sat up once again. Instantly, a sense of desolation was emitted from his body. It was like an endless baptism of space-time, returning to its original nature. Whiz! A pillar of light shot into the sky. The entire primal chaos mountain was in a state of unrest. Was that where Long Fei was training in seclusion? Could it be that he broke through again? Impossible, it's definitely not him. This feeling of time is too strong. Could it be that he has refined ancient emperor's power? It's possible. With so many of the great emperor's heirs gathered around him, there might be some super treasure that can create the power of the great emperor. Countless people began to speculate. This is a sensitive time. Long Fei was also a sensitive person that everyone was wary of. Every single movement of his would affect the thoughts of the crowd. Within the heavenly emperor palace, the celestial emperor stood up abruptly. His face was filled with terror. His eyes were wide open in anger, and disbelief was written all over his face. The power of the ancient era. How could it possibly erupt here? The heavenly emperor was furious. He looked at the place where Long Fei was at and clenched his fists. Lifeless, go and probe him. Remember, you must not make a move. Long Fei can't die yet. The celestial emperor muttered to himself. Yes, I have no orders, Li Wuming said as he lowered his head. With a cold smile on his face, he turned around and left. And at this time, Long Fei who had opened his eyes. It was even more violent. 2F** King excited. His cultivation level had actually risen directly. Ding! Congratulations, player leveled up. Current level 8 ancient power. Experience 0/600000000. It was definitely an unexpected gain. Long Fei did not expect this either. He actually leveled up just like that. Awesome, the root of the great Tao. To think that the change in my strength could affect the system. The 8th level of the ancient era. I'm only 2 levels away. Long Fei's eyes were firm. He was only 2 levels away from becoming a paragon. Since the Dragonstall said so, they definitely wouldn't shoot without reason. This meant that this time, the Lord of all Fiends was going to have a major setup. There was absolutely no way he could break through after becoming a paragon. But now, only a few days remained. Too hasty. Boss you. Right at this time, Li Yuanba was the first to reach Long Fei's secluded cultivation, seeing how Long Fei's aura became stronger. Damn, boss, you actually managed to break through another level in 2 days? Awesome. Li Yuanba laughed out loud. Regarding Long Fei's rocket leveling, Li Yuanba was already used to it. However, this was the first time he had seen one that could level up just by closing the gates. Immediately after, Li Wu Xan, Zhang Yu, Lu Luoxi, and the rest arrived. The first time he saw Long Fei, it was shock. He was stunned, especially the little guy and the 2 women. Their eyes were filled with warmth as they looked at Long Fei. Dad, these 2 days of closed-door cultivation, it's like you've become a completely different person. The little guy circled Long Fei with a face full of doubt. What'd it look like? Long Fei asked. Yes. I can't say, but I feel a very ancient, grand, and ethereal aura coming from you, the little guy said in all seriousness. Following that, Lu Luoxi and the rest all nodded their heads. Long Fei smiled mysteriously. Naturally, he did not say much about the root of the great Tao. It wasn't that they didn't trust the other party, but this matter had been implicated too much. If they were to say it out loud, the other party would definitely overthink it. These are all secondary. Do you know whose boss I am and whose husband I am? Long Fei pretended to be relaxed. Also, let's see whose dad you're talking about. The little fellow added. That's right. I'm the peerless father of dragons. How can I not be strong? We, father and son, are invincible, Long Fei said. Before his voice fell, Long Fei's brows twitched as he looked into the distance. 100 miles away, a silhouette flickered, disappearing in the blink of an eye. However, in the next moment, he took a step closer. It was also at this time that Li Wuxin stepped forward and his aura exploded. Li Wuming, Li Wuxin said with a deep tone, his eyes slightly narrowing. He was too familiar with this aura. This was the Li family's aura of extermination. Li Wuming's figure approached them step by step. In just a few breaths of time, he had arrived in front of them. Li Wuming, what are you doing here? Li Wuxin asked. His killing intent filled the air. Aside from Li Wuming, the entire Li family had been annihilated. Moreover, Li Wuxin did not believe that Li Wuming would not know it was them. Thus, Li Wuming's appearance at this time was extremely unusual. What is it? TSK. There's no need to worry. It will not be a few days before I kill you. Just to tell you a piece of information, Li Wuming said in disdain. As he spoke, he changed the subject and continued. The Five Emperor's successor has already been placed under the command of the Celestial Emperor. Furthermore, the Divine Space will also send its current genius disciples to participate in the battle. You pieces of trash, are you ready to die? Li Wuming was extremely arrogant and commanding. Damn, he's so arrogant. Dad, let me teach him how to conduct himself. The little guy stood up and crossed his hands. God of Underworld's power instantly exploded outwards. However, he was stopped by Long Fei. If you only came to provoke me, then congratulations, very successful. If it's the Celestial Emperor who sent you to probe, then I'm very sorry. I never look at my master when I hit a dog. Instantly, Long Fei moved. Within the pubes, the black seed moved. It spun madly. Subsequently, an extremely mysterious aura exploded from Long Fei's body. Boom! He punched out. Long Fei was even lazy to use his skills, so he casually threw out a punch. Just this little bit of strength? Long Fei, looks like the Heavenly Emperor thinks too highly of you. Li Wuming was overjoyed. At this moment, the orders of the Celestial Emperor were thrown to the back of his mind, because Long Fei was a person who annihilated the Li family. As the only survivor of the Li family, how could he possibly remain indifferent towards Long Fei? Extermination palm. Crash. Asterisk Li Wuming covered the sky with one hand. He drew down his palm. A violent and destructive power exploded from this palm, enveloping everything. Boom. Asterisk instantly, it interweaved with Long Fei's fist. Ha ha ha, boy, compared to my strength, I think you have lost your mind. If you use your special power, this Marquis is still a little afraid. But now, you actually dare to fight against me head-on. Since you are courting death, this Marquis will grant your wish. Li Wuming laughed maniacally. He had absolute confidence in his own palm strike. But just at that moment, he realized that Long Fei was actually smiling. Not only Long Fei, even the people beside Long Fei all looked at him with a face full of pity. Bastard, you actually dare to look down on me? Li Wuming's heart erupted with rage, and he was about to attack again. However, in that instant, a black shadow suddenly appeared in front of them. Boom, asterisk bang, a loud sound came out, and Li Wuming was sent flying by Long Fei's fist. His so-called power of annihilation did not affect Long Fei in the slightest. However, it had been destroyed by Long Fei's fist. I also said, you never need to look at your master when you beat a dog. Hit the dog without looking at its owner. Hit the dog without looking at its owner. Killing without question day and night. Long Fei had always had this kind of temperament. Even if he knew, the more he killed, the better it would be for the Lord of Chaos. Unscrupulous. Since you dare to act tough in front of me, you should be prepared to be killed. Boom. Asterisk Li Wuming's body flew backwards like a kite with its string cut, and he was unable to control his body. Under Long Fei's punch, he was able to move his body freely. Boom. Asterisk boom. Asterisk boom. Asterisk Li Wuming's body was sent flying back several hundred miles, just like a black dot. He had been sent flying out of the primal chaos mountain region. Long Fei's figure also instantly chased after him. In this moment, the entire mountain of primordial chaos could no longer remain calm. This is terrible. That was Li Wuming. He was one of the top experts in the entire Sky Empire. Rumor has it that he was one of the Sky Emperor's trump cards with the potential to become a sovereign. However now, powerful. What sort of punch was that? I clearly cannot feel any power, but why is it so powerful? Long Fei has already risen to prominence. In this era, there is no longer anyone capable of suppressing him, and there is still the Lord of Primal Chaos supporting him. This qualification must belong to him. The people on the Primal Chaos Mountain were all terrified. They were all full of hostility towards Long Fei. The stronger Long Fei got, the more they panicked, afraid that he would settle the score later. As for mercy, restraint, furthermore, it did not exist. They had already seen Long Fei run rampant, and there was no one that could suppress him. It was also at this time that Long Fei's figure directly appeared in front of Li Wuming. He had a look of disdain on his face. Scream. Li Wuming, you sound so tall. How could you be so useless? Long Fei ridiculed. His eyes stared towards the sky. He knew that there was nothing that Li Wuming could hide from the Celestial Emperor, much less from the Lord of Primal Chaos. Long Fei had never been one to yield. You guys do your dirty work. I'll kill your father's men. As for the end, it all depended on who was more formidable. Cough, cough. Long Fei, you despicable and shameless little bastard. You actually dare to sneak in and attack from behind. Li Wuming gasped for breath. The destructive force circulated around his body. The holy source surged crazily, wanting to fix it. A sneak attack. Steal your ass. You're King pretending to be in front of Lousy, yet Lousy still wants to argue with you and have a fair fight? Are you stupid? Long Fei rolled his eyes and instantly became speechless. Li Wuming was at a loss for words. A sense of urgency arose in his heart. Long Fei didn't follow the rules too much. He simply didn't have any rules to speak of. Long Fei, I advise you to take care of yourself. Right now, the entire Primal Chaos Mountain is filled with people who want your life. If you know what's good for you and stop now, the Celestial Emperor might even spare your life. Otherwise, today will be the day you die. Li Wuming raised his head and looked straight at Long Fei. But Long Fei did not think so. The corners of his mouth twitched, and a cold sneer appeared on it. Threatening? Li Wuming, you're still threatening at this time? I really don't know who gave you the courage. You can make such a decision. However, very good. I'll send you to hell with this decision. Long Fei said, and the power in his hands condensed once again. However, this time, a spear appeared in his hand. The spear broke through the sky. It was dropped from the hands of the Divine Space's Zhou family general. However, in the hands of Long Fei, it was as if there was a change in nature. The will to fight exploded in the skies as he faced off against the Celestial Emperor. TSK. Although it's not as good as a big killing weapon, it's still enough. Long Fei thought and arranged the power of the pubes. In an instant, the great way of the Buddha began to revolve crazily once again, directly piercing through the sky-breaking spear technique through the arm. Ding! Heaven-breaking spear's mutation has been upgraded to Berserk Heaven-breaking spear. Attributes: Battle Kill. Skill: Sky-splitting strike. Description: Existence of the ancient power, breaking the heavens and destroying the earth. A single spear strike had defeated the enemy. It could kill players above LV-18. After the first strike, the spear broke into pieces and he attacked once more. At this moment, the system sounded out. Even Long Fei was caught off guard. He had not expected this at all. The power of one pubes had actually allowed one super artifact to evolve. F*CK, this F*Ker. Long Fei's eyes lit up. Looking at the introduction of the system, his heart was no longer at ease. There was no limit on the level of those who could kill beyond level 18. Didn't this mean that even if it were a respected expert, he would be able to instantly kill them? Ha ha, awesome. Long Fei laughed incessantly in his heart. More importantly, although this power was one-time use, his own pubes power was permanent, right? As long as the power remained, wouldn't that mean that I can evolve the holy artifact in bulk? Sky Emperor was awesome. At that time, I will throw out a few mutated super artifact. Even if he didn't die, he would at least shed a layer of skin. In an instant, Long Fei's eyes released a light. He looked at Li Wuming without any hesitation. Leave this attack to the Celestial Emperor. As for you, die for me. In that moment, Long Fei immediately took action. Ignoring the berserk fighting sky, splitting spear, he simply threw out another punch. The punch was shattered. Fire appeared on Long Fei's fist, as if it was burning the heavens and the earth. Boom! Asterisk a fist once again landed on Li Wuming's body. All of a sudden, Li Wuming's chest was pierced through. It was pure physical damage. At such a close distance, Li Wuming could not even dodge. He could only bear it. Under the punch, Li Wuming's eyes widened. Looking at Long Fei, then looking at his own chest, he started to become crazy. No, don't kill me. Long Fei, you can't kill me. You've already annihilated the Li family. Don't tell me you still want to exterminate them all? Li Wuming's entire body trembled violently. The power of annihilation was completely useless. But Long Fei just disdained this kind of begging. Exterminate all? You're right. From the moment you guys started plotting against me, this conclusion has already been set in stone. You only have 100 HP left. What are you screaming for? Die. While he's sick, I want his life. As he turned around, Long Fei directly sent a slap flying. And this palm also became the final strike to end Li Wuming's life. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Li Wuming. You have obtained 60,000 experience, 60,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value. A system prompt appeared, but other than experience and holy source value, there was nothing else. System, did you get it wrong? How can you give me so little experience when I'm at the peak of legendary? Aren't you being a little picky? Long Fei said as he frowned. It wasn't just skinning. Even if he leveled up himself, the amount of experience he would receive from leveling up would be too little. If this continued, how long would it take for him to guess that he would be able to level up? However, there was no response from the system. Helpless, Long Fei could only give up. But right at this moment, a change occurred in the entire primordial chaos. In the distance, the silhouette of the Celestial Emperor appeared. He stared straight at Long Fei. Long Fei, are you forcing this Emperor to take action? The mountains of primordial chaos were completely silent. The mountains of primordial chaos were completely silent. The Celestial Emperor was synonymous with control. Blood flowed like a river from the wrath of the Celestial Emperor. So. In the silence, one figure after another began to dissipate, completely distancing themselves from the center of the storm, not daring to stay for even a moment, because they had a bone-deep reverence towards the Celestial Emperor. It was just like how, under the rule of a king, the imperial power was unparalleled. It was a humility that came from the depths of one's bones on the level of life. In their eyes, the imperial power was the absolute powerhouse. Invincible rule. TSK, Long Fei is playing with fire, provoking the Celestial Emperor. He is courting death. Go ahead and do it. He thought that just because he was powerful, that he was powerful. However, you must know, the Heavenly Emperor is a title bestowed by the heavens. He is supreme and unparalleled. It's a good thing he died. I can't bear to see him act so arrogantly. The wall was pushed by everyone. They are the fence-sitters. Previously, when Long Fei had gone berserk, they had not said a single word. Now, as soon as the Heavenly Emperor was out, they started jumping and belittling Long Fei crazily. In their opinion, Long Fei was already a dead man. There were no surprises. Long Fei's gaze shifted towards a few directions on the primal chaos mountain. These words, not a word fell into his ears. This was another kind of power for Pubes. It was as if he could sense hostility. There's such a thing? That's awesome. Arrogant. All of you are like ants, willing to be slaves trash. Living is also a waste of air. I'll send you all to your deaths. Long Fei's eyes moved, and a strand of power faintly rotated within his palms. And then, an incomparable torrent of energy surged forth. It seemed to connect the entire space. In an instant, a giant hand appeared. Hand of Chaos, great capture. Whoosh! A palm flashed out, grabbing over hundreds of people. There was no bias. They were all the people who had recommended and belittled Long Fei just now. You say I'm arrogant? Then Lousy will be as arrogant as to let you see. So what if it's the Celestial Emperor? Do you think you have a backer just because the Celestial Emperor came? Do I have concerns? Too naive. Long Fei enunciated every word coldly. So what if it was the Celestial Emperor? Even the Emperor Xian did not allow Long Fei to surrender, nor did Long Batian make Long Fei bend his waist. A Celestial Emperor? It could make Long Fei stop? It did not exist. Moreover, Long Fei was also filled with anticipation for the Berserk sky-splitting spear. He didn't know if he could kill the Celestial Emperor. Thinking about it, Long Fei used a bit of force in his primal chaos hand. The pubes' power was channeled into it. Ding! The hand of chaos mutated, leveled up to the sky, cracking hand of primal chaos. Attributes: capture rend. Description: infinite capture. Locking and capturing within 1,000,000 miles. Endless strangling, destroying the soul and body with a single blow. Long Fei was slightly taken aback. He had not expected this at all. Not only could weapons be mutated, but even skills had been mutated. It was only now that he remembered what Long Batian had said, that this was his first good fortune. A transformation. F***CK. It's more than just metamorphosis. It's a complete open scam. Once the script is out, who else could it be? Long Fei was extremely excited. At this point, there were very few things that could affect Long Fei's state of mind. But now it was different. The power of the Great Tao Root was equivalent to reshuffling all of his skills and weapons. Regroup. Mutated. It had been completely upgraded. This kind of power was not on the top of the system, but it was on the same level as the system. To Long Fei, this was definitely a breakthrough. The system's control was too strong. Long Fei had no choice. But now, with the pubes' foundation, Long Fei felt a little more confident. How could Long Batian be so kind and give me this power? He must have other plans. But now is not the time to think about these things. Long Fei suppressed the guesses in his mind. Regarding matters where there were no results, he did not want to waste another brain cell. Soldiers come and block. Men come and go. Long Fei had never been afraid. At the same time, the power of the hand of chaos erupted, annihilating hundreds of people in the blink of an eye. Ding, ding, ding. The sound of the system echoed. Although hundreds of people were at the early stage of super perfection, to Long Fei, they were all trash. One person only gave less than 1,000 experience, which made Long Fei's heart ache abnormally. What the F***CK? Boss. What I need is a boss. This level isn't even enough to fill the gaps in one's teeth. Long Fei cursed in his heart as he looked at the Celestial Emperor. Pretentious criminal. Are you going to make a move? Long Fei said casually. It was true that the Heavenly Emperor was an extremely pretentious criminal in Long Fei's heart. He never moved his mouth, never his hands. Furthermore, the person who walked out of the door was none other than the Emperor, the Emperor. He appeared to be paralyzed in all 4 limbs, with an eternally expressionless and ice-cold appearance. This kind of situation, let Long Fei directly define it. They were just pretending to be some kind of espionage. Long Fei, you're courting death. The Celestial Emperor's gaze turned cold. Anger exploded. The pressure of the Supreme Emperor Wei descended from the skies. Ka! Ka! Countless buildings began to crack and crack. It was simply impossible to withstand the aura of the Celestial Emperor. Even Long Fei felt his heart tremble. But at that moment, the pubes' aura shook, and light shone from the great way of the Buddha. Instantly, all the pressure vanished. Then, Long Fei raised his head and laughed in disdain. Why, aren't you supreme? Is it just this little bit of power? Long Fei ridiculed. At this moment, he was probing. He wanted to know how great the gap was between the current Heavenly Emperor and this so-called Heavenly Emperor. Before, he wasn't a match at all. But now, he had risen to the 3rd level. Not only that, the Grand Tao was at stake, and the strength system had been upgraded. Therefore, Long Fei couldn't wait to confirm it. But what he didn't expect was that the Heavenly Emperor remained unmoving, and only his eyes became colder and colder. Ha! Old Heavenly Emperor, why aren't you saying anything? Are you scared by my boss? Below, Li Yuanba also said, Dad, put that old man down. That chair is not bad. I like it. The little guy was eager to stir up trouble. wanting to get the Venerable One to join him. When the two of them spoke, their words caused the world's expression to become even more unsightly. The aura on his body also became more and more terrifying. For a time, no one in the entire primal chaos mountain dared to speak. They were thoroughly crushed and their heads lowered as they prostrated themselves. However, Long Fei's expression did not change. The brilliance of the great Tao root instantly swallowed up all of the pressure. It was as if this power was nothing but dregs in front of the foundations of the great Tao. But Long Fei couldn't hold it in anymore. If you don't want to do it, then I'll do it. Look at your so-called heaven's gift. See exactly how amazing you are. Berserk sky-splitting spear. Heaven breaker. Long Fei bellowed, light revolving in his hands, and a black spear that carried an endless berserk chi was instantly thrown out. Whiz! The long spear split the skies, emitting an unbridled aura as it pierced through the void, causing the void to be scorched into nothingness. Boom! 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 The power of this spear was too strong. It could ignore everything. The Emperor's chi of the Heavenly Emperor could not be stopped at all and instantly shattered. In this instant, the entire chaos world was thrown into chaos. Everyone's eyes were fixated on this spear. His eyes were dim and filled with fear. This was because just the aura alone was causing their souls to tremble. The hairs on his body stood on end. However, the more it was like this, the more they were afraid to move their line of sight. They were afraid that the spear would suddenly change directions and target them. At this moment, the Sky Emperor's expression changed drastically as well. Boom! Immediately, he sat up from the throne. She was no longer graceful and calm like before. Now, he could no longer remain calm. He was even avoiding his eyes. No, that's not possible. I am a divine body. There is no power that can affect me. A heaven-sent ruler is the supreme existence in the Bedlam lands. It is impossible for any power to go against his will. I don't believe it, the Celestial Emperor said solemnly. At the same time, his body trembled. His imperial robes fluttered in the wind. The power of the Emperor was released from his body, forming an invisible armor. The dragon's shadow howled ferociously. In the distance, Long Fei's pupils contracted as a cold light flashed in his eyes. Dragon, imperial power from the dragon. However, at this moment, the armor worn by the Heavenly Emperor was extraordinary. It was obvious that he had to refine the colossal dragon's soul and fuse it with his own strength in order to reach such a level. Instantly, Long Fei's killing intent exploded out. Because he was a dragon. Kill! With a loud shout, Long Fei's figure instantly shot into the sky. At this moment, what rules of chaos? What restrictions? He threw it all to the back of his mind. Because Long Fei had never forgotten. He was a dragon. To his surprise, no power exploded out, as if the laws of the primal chaos were equally useless to Long Fei. However, what Long Fei did not know was that this time, he would soar into the sky. The people on the primal chaos mountain were shocked. Long Fei couldn't feel it, but they could see it clearly in both their eyes. It was not that the power of the Lord of primal chaos did not appear, but it was directly broken through by Long Fei. The heavens actually weren't even able to suppress the Lord of Chaos's laws. It's over. He's too strong. Even the Lord of Primordial Chaos wasn't able to suppress him. Who could be his match? Immediately leave the mountain. Otherwise, when he obtains the position of the champion of the qualification tournament, will we be able to live? It was just a single scene, but it caused everyone to panic endlessly. They could already tell that Long Fei had already soared into the sky, and no one could suppress him. Thinking of their attitude toward Long Fei from before, their hearts turned cold. It was as if life no longer belonged to them, but was only temporary. Far off in the distance, in the center of the primordial chaos, the figure of the Lord of Primordial Chaos appeared as well. Looking at Long Fei, who soared into the sky, his eyes grew cold. It can actually break through my power? and in just 2 days, he seems to have been reborn and his battle power has increased by leaps and bounds? Interesting. However, the stronger you are, the more I like you. Go ahead. Let me see where your limit is. The Lord of Primal Chaos pushed aside the Primal Chaos clouds and coldly stared at Long Fei. The scene changed again, and Long Fei's figure already broke through the horizon. The speed was unimaginable. It was as if he had been pulled up from dry land. In a split second, he grasped the berserk heaven-breaking spear in his hand, after which he pushed his spear forward. Boom! Ka! Asterisk the sky-breaking spear instantly turned even more berserk, turning into an incomparably huge spear. It seemed to possess the power to lift the heavens, attacking the armor on the Heavenly Emperor's body in an instant. Instantly, cracking sounds could be heard. All he saw was streams of royal chi disappearing without a trace. After the light faded, the sky-splitting spear returned to its original size. Under Long Fei's power, it instantly penetrated the Heavenly Emperor's chest. Puff! The Celestial Emperor was sent flying backwards. The power of the Royal Tao, the armor of honor. It was all useless. Berserk fighting breaking heaven, spear breaking through the sky. At the same time, the entire sky-breaking spear shattered with a loud bang. The light scattered and then exploded like ice. It instantly exploded. Long Fei's figure steadied in midair, and his eyes were gloomy. Looking around, everyone present was like an ant as they silently lowered their heads. Below, Li Yuanba and the rest were all dumbstruck. I will. This was too heaven-defying. When did my boss learn this? Awesome. Li Yuanba was extremely excited. The stronger Long Fei became, the more excited he became. You're right. This is truly heaven-defying. Heaven's bestowal has always been an unbreakable existence from the ancient times to the present. Last time, it was also the boss who used some sort of special power to defeat the Celestial Emperor. But now, this is the boss's own power. He broke apart a person that was bestowed with the title of Heaven's Sovereign. Li Wuxin was extremely excited. He was even more clear on what the Heaven's Gift hierarchy represented. Forbidden. In the unknown primal chaos, the hierarchy of the heavens was at the top of the pyramid. This was a taboo that all living beings looked up to, but now Long Fei had done it. A spear pierced through the sky, breaking the taboo. The little guy's eyes were shining. He was extremely excited, and if he wasn't stopped by Yai, he would have flown up as well. Dad, kill him. Let's see how arrogant he is. The little guy was dancing with joy. Similarly, in a corner of the territory, Oya brought 6 Vajra with her. They were all extremely excited. It was too exciting. They pounded their chests and stomped their feet, wishing that they could fight to the death on the spot. If it wasn't for Oya stopping them, no one would want to stay for another minute. Then, he looked at Long Fei, who was standing proudly in the air. Invincible, to look down on the world. He swept the area with his eyes, causing all of the heroes present to bow their heads. It's starting. The boss is already up. There's absolutely no way to suppress him in this chaos. Chen Tianfei was extremely excited. Yes, this is Long Fei, born with eyes that look down on heroes. Haha, what sister-in-law says is right. Only then will it fit boss plan. He was born with a pair of eyes that slandered heroes. Eldest sis, let's quickly show our faces and fight with eldest brother. That's the true madness. The 6 King Kong were talking while rubbing their fists and wiping their palms. My large saber has long been unable to endure the thirst. Black Knife, Uncle muttered as his fighting spirit rose. My sword is his sword. I will wait and fight with him. Aoya said. However, at this moment, regardless of who it might be, none of them could compare with the Heavenly Emperor. The Celestial Emperor lowered his head and looked at his chest, where a huge hole had been punched in it. His face was filled with shock. Impossible. You're trash. How could you possibly injure me? Impossible. A position of honor is a taboo. Who would dare to touch a taboo? I don't believe it. The Celestial Emperor roared, and his imperial robe trembled. The power of the infinite Emperor Tao surged forward. Any existence that touches upon a taboo definitely allows it. Long Fei, no matter how many tricks you have up your sleeve, this world will not tolerate you. Even the Lord of all fiends wouldn't dare to protect you. Die. The Celestial Emperor attacked in a frenzy. He used every method he could. Under the rage and embarrassment, he no longer cared about anything. Even if it was the Lord of the Chaos, he wouldn't be able to do anything about it. Because this time, Long Fei had injured him herself. Before this, he would never dare to imagine such a thing. If he was injured this time, then what was the next time? The Celestial Emperor didn't dare to imagine. Killing you is taboo. Then you think too highly of yourself. What I want is the blood of the heavens, the blood of the earth, and the collapse of primordial chaos. Great killing weapon, come. A divine treasure had a spirit. A divine treasure had a spirit. The big killer weapon had followed Long Fei for a period of time, and under the big killer weapon, it was even better. Originally, Long Fei wanted to give the King Kong to the Kong to go one step further. But now, in order to face the Celestial Emperor, Long Fei could only summon his power. Although it was a pity, Long Fei believed that if the killing machine changed again, it was definitely more awesome than the sky-shattering spear. If the sky-splitting spear could injure the Celestial Emperor, then what about the ultimate killing weapon? As expected, Long Fei had already decided to take it head-on. Originally, Long Fei did not think about it too much. He only wanted to kill Li Wuming. But now, the root of the pubis S was too powerful. This made Long Fei's heart filled with an urgent desire to exterminate the Heavenly Emperor. As for the words that the Celestial Emperor himself had said just now, this made Long Fei even more unhappy. Forbidden? A taboo to the common people? Just how amazing were you? How amazing were you that you would make the common people regard you as a taboo that they would not dare to touch or touch? F***CK. Lousy can't stand to see people like you who think they are high and mighty like you. You are born free. You're just a bird. Self-proclaimed taboo. You want me to worship you? Impossible. Today, I will kill you. Even if you are a taboo, so what? The heavens and the earth will tremble. The gods will weep, and this taboo of yours will die. Long Fei did not hesitate at all, since it had come to this point. Nothing to say. At the end, whiz. And at this time, a killing weapon instantly came from Li Yuanba's body and landed in front of Long Fei. In the instant of contact, the pubis' power erupted. Ding! The great killing tool mutated, leveling up to Sky Slaughtering Blade. Attribute 2. Annihilation. Description: Heaven Slaughtering Blade. Endless killing intent. Condensed killing intent that can slaughter the heavens. A killing intent that can destroy the heavens. Skill: Massacre the heavens. One strike with absolute killing intent can slaughter anything in this world. Long Fei's heart jumped when he saw the final description. Sure enough, the heaven-breaking spear couldn't compare to it. Once the great killing tool mutated, it would immediately become a sky-slaying weapon. The world was vast. Who dared to say they would massacre the heavens? But now, Long Fei, who held the sky-slaughtering blade in his hand, had such an impulse. It was slaughter the heavens. Even the heavens dared to massacre them. A mere celestial emperor was nothing. In that moment, Long Fei's heart was filled with passion. Who cares who you are? Swish! In the blink of an eye, the saber light shot into the sky. It tore through the sky as if it wanted to tear the entire world asunder. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Rumble. Boundless rumbling sounds rose and fell like the rumbling of thunder. Heaven and earth shook and hung upside down. The entire chaos world was shaking. It was as if she was equally afraid of Long Fei's attack exploding out. The Celestial Emperor's face was instantly filled with panic. The power of the king was released crazily from his body, but even so, he was still unable to match Long Fei's blade. Ryuan blow. What emperor's power, what divine bestowal from the heavens at this moment? They were all trash. Nothing. Disintegration. How is this possible? How can such a power exist in this world? This is completely outside the rules of the unknown land. You are the judge of the Tao. Yes, you're the judge of the Tao. No wonder your strength is so hard to see through. Lord of the Chaos, quick attack. Long Fei is a Tao judge. Instantly, the Celestial Emperor was terrified. After the defensive power of the Emperor dissipated, he began to retreat explosively. He called for help. He hoped that the Lord of Primordial Chaos would be able to act. The entire void was in chaos. The primordial chaos had dissipated, but the Lord of Primordial Chaos had yet to attack. There wasn't even a shadow to be seen. Swish! With one slash, Long Fei's speed increased, as though he was condensing the force of slaughter to its highest point. He chased after them. Boom! Asterisk Ka. Asterisk, the Heavenly Emperor's figure was cut down as a series of numbers appeared. Health, 699990000. It was 60 billion HP. In addition, this was true damage, ignoring levels. Boom! Asterisk, the silhouette of the Heavenly Emperor descended from the skies, directly landing onto the ground in the dust. Ryu and blow. Chaos shook, and a huge crater was formed in the mountain. At the same time, an extremely terrifying aura instantly erupted from the mountain of primal chaos. A streak of blood shot into the sky. They hovered above the sky, lingering. Heavens, what is this? Is it a precious treasure? What a powerful blood energy. Could it be that this mountain contains some sort of genius treasure? It must be, if I obtain this power. Instantly, the minds of countless people started to flood over. He was filled with desire towards the soaring power that would erupt from the mountain of primal chaos. However, they only desired it and did not dare to make a move. The Heavenly Emperor was still in the air, and they could still clearly remember Long Fei's berserk methods. At this time, no matter who went, they would die. It was also at this time. The Celestial Emperor turned around and flew out of the pit with his hair and face all disheveled. At this time, Long Fei could also clearly see the amount of blood on his body. 500 billion. A true super big boss. Long Fei's eyes turned cold as a bright light flashed across them. After leveling up, the super perfection stage wasn't a threat at all. He had long since left the boss stage. Only someone like the Emperor Xian could become a true boss. Boss! The boss light has finally appeared again. It's been too long. Your father has long been unable to endure the thirst. Long Fei's heart thumped. The blood and chi of the chaotic mountains, they weren't precious treasures at all. Long Fei had long known this from Long Baishan's mouth. There was no desire to touch it at all. Besides, this was the grand scheme of the Lord of Chaos. Who would dare covet it? Even if Long Fei had the great way of the Buddha, he wouldn't dare to touch it. After all, he hadn't even reached the level of a paragon yet. The difference in levels was an absolute limit. The person in front of him was the Celestial Emperor, a super big boss. What should we do? What should we do? Is the divine treasure not enough? Do I have to use imperial clothing? Long Fei's eyes flashed. Even though the great Tao root was berserk, increasing the power of the heavenly treasure, it was clear that the heavenly treasure could not keep up. After going berserk, it directly shattered. Ka! Asterisk at this time, the power of the killing weapon had been fully unleashed. After a single slash, it also began to crumble. Long Fei, this emperor is going to kill you. A judge of the Tao should not exist in this world. Your methods must be gone, right? Right now, I shall see how you will withstand it. If you want to die, you will definitely die. The Celestial Emperor was incomparably crazed. Heavenly Emperor's sword. Judgment Tao. Once again, the Celestial Emperor struck out, unleashing all the power in his body. Swish! The sword beam descended from the sky and closed in on Long Fei. Immortal body, absolute body, open. Long Fei's eyes congealed and instantly reacted. Puff! A sword descended. The entire sky turned into a world of sword light. The 10 million sword shadows blotted out the sky and covered the earth. It was as if the primal chaos itself was being twisted into pieces. In this instant, Long Fei felt as if his soul was being pulled. The enormous pressure made it difficult for him to breathe. Puffed. Countless of sword images broke through the horizon, directly striking Long Fei's body. In that moment, Long Fei felt as if his entire being was pierced by thousands of arrows. His meridians, bone marrow, and flesh were all filled with an irresistible force. If it were not for the absolute tyrant body, the immortal body, I would already be dead. No, we absolutely cannot sit still and wait for death. He would rather stand upright. He would rather stand upright. Never kneel to die. This was Long Fei. No matter how amazing you are, I will fight you to the end. From the moment Long Fei unleashed his killing weapon, there was no longer any hesitation in his heart. He wanted to kill the Celestial Emperor. This kind of super big boss would not feel good even if he did not kill Long Fei. Letting the boss go was not merciful. Cruelty to himself. Moreover, it was the type that could be chopped into pieces. Long Fei did not have the tendency to self-abuse, so at this time he did not retreat. Time is life. The immortal body was definitely a tyrannical body. In less than 5 minutes. Therefore, Long Fei was extremely urgent. He had to find a viable method to kill the Sky Emperor within 5 minutes. Otherwise, there would only be one result waiting for him. God of heaven, madman, no. The level of the Celestial Emperor was too high. It was impossible to see through. There was a limit to the level of Empyrean God's Berserkers at level 15. It was impossible to kill them. It's most likely a useless attack. Immobilize. This won't do. The level is too high to be fixed. The power of the God's Pavilion is not good either. The difference in levels can only be achieved in an instant. Everything, including the system tools, Long Fei brought out for you. However, it was useless. At the current stage, anything that could cause damage to the Celestial Emperor was nowhere to be seen. Eyes of extinction. Yes, eyes of extermination. Long Fei's eyes lit up. The eyes of destruction was a type of ultimate skill. It could ignore levels. Moreover, 50% of the triggers would be fatal. With such a high probability of success, Long Fei did not believe that his luck would be so easy to trigger. What's more, I still have the Great Tao Root. Eye of Destruction appear. Swish! Long Fei's body instantly shot out 100 meters of the sky as he faced the Heavenly Emperor's Sword of the Way. He allowed the countless sword shadows to wreak havoc within his body. In any case, if he had an absolute body, he wouldn't die. Pa 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 pa. With the sword light piercing through his body, Long Fei gritted his teeth and endured it, looking at the Sky Emperor with a determined look. Staring at me? What is it? You don't have the ability anymore? Do you think it's so simple? For someone who has judged the Tao and left behind the scriptures, if he angers the heavens and the earth, it is a taboo, and the time of your death is already near. The Heavenly Emperor's words were filled with killing intent. Long Fei ignored them. The current him only wanted to turn the world upside down. As for the Heaven Emperor's so-called heaven and earth forbidden scripture, he had no interest in listening to it. Any taboo was a boast. Departure from the scriptures? Who set the scriptures, and who built the Tao? Long Fei didn't care at all. Strength was the foundation of everything. As long as one could defeat it, no matter how powerful they were, it would only be a boss. As long as it exploded, Long Fei did not say a word as he channeled the energy of the great way of the Buddha to the extreme. Sky eye open. Boom! In an instant, a vertical line appeared on Long Fei's forehead. The lines were like lightning, but as scarlet as blood. A little crack appeared. Soon after, a ray of light shot out from within. Swish, swish. Boom! With the appearance of this point of light, the sword shadows in the sky instantly disappeared. Or perhaps it could be said that it was directly washed away by the light of the extinction pupil. It was melted. At the same time, the system's voice also came into Long Fei's ears. Ding! The eyes of destruction leveled up. The eyes of destruction. Attribute, extinction, description, scanning with divine light, targeted attack, 100% chance of being killed. Notification, upgrade to one-time use skill, heaven's eyes disappears. Long Fei listened quietly as the light in his eyes grew colder. Some liver pains. Originally, it was a permanent semi-ultimate skill. However, he never expected that after leveling up, even Heaven's eyes would disappear and turn into a one-time use skill. But at this time, Long Fei no longer had the time to think it through. The arrow was already on the bow, so he had no choice but to fire it. In front of a boss, there was nothing to be reluctant about. At this moment, the Heavenly Emperor's face was filled with shock. He completely didn't dare believe that his own Emperor's sword would actually be instantly broken once again. Impossible. What method is this? My Emperor's sword controls the heavens and the earth, and kills all the people in the world. You are a person who has judged the Tao. Under this kind of power, you should have nowhere to hide. Why? Why can't I kill you? No, I don't believe it. The Sky Emperor was even more berserk, frantically attacking. The power of the Emperor realm once again surged out. At the same time, the Heavenly Emperor seal appeared once again. The silhouette of an ancient first-generation celestial emperor appeared in the air. It was incomparably savage. We lost when Long Batian came out. He was as scared as a grandson, and now he even ran out. What's the use of it? Long Fei was disdainful. So what if it was the first-generation ancient Heavenly Emperor? The world-exterminating eyes had already exploded. Who am I afraid of? Bastard, you are really reckless. You said it yourself. That is Long Batian's power. If not for you, Long Batian's figure would have been killed by the Lord of Primal Chaos. What else do you have? What other tricks do you have? My ancestor will definitely kill you. Kill. As he spoke, all of the power of the Emperor bloodline in his body surged into the Heavenly Emperor's seal. At the same time, the silhouette of the first-generation Heavenly Emperor in the sky also became more solid. Golden light flickered around his body, and within the golden light, there was inexhaustible savagery. Just like how the sovereign king that controls the celestial emperor is his true life, the son of heaven. Crash! Asterisk at this moment, the body of the first-generation Heavenly Emperor moved. It crazily smashed downwards. Instantly, Long Fei felt his entire body being restricted. Even if he did not die, it would be difficult for him to face this kind of pressure. Asterisk, if you couldn't control your legs, they would twist. Boom. Asterisk, all of a sudden, he lost all of his support points and fell from the sky. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Boom, boom, boom. Once again, Long Fei was sent flying. The heck? Long Fei's entire body was in incomparable pain. Under this pressure, he was unable to move at all. It was completely unstoppable. He couldn't hold on at all. Facing the Heavenly Emperor, Long Fei did not even feel this way. But now, he was completely powerless. Not done yet. What's going on? Long Fei endured the pain, his heart anxious. The eyes of destruction had yet to activate. Other than the initial blow, it was still brewing and filling up. But now, even an immortal body only had 3 minutes left. I'm finished. Damn you, system. I'm gonna be played to death. Long Fei's heart was in pain, but he had no choice. He could only take it head on. Boom. Asterisk another palm. Long Fei's figure was once again blasted flying. He was in an extremely weak state. Even with the immortal body and absolute tyrant body, it wouldn't be able to withstand the crushing power of this level. Below, the blood veins on the Yuanba's eyes were popping up, all of them wanting to attack. Long Fei, father, hubby, boss. Each and every one of them was filled with rage and madness. Long Fei's eyes gradually recovered some color, and after looking over, he said, "Go! Leave me alone." Long Fei bellowed, his eyes turning red. The sky eye on his forehead had also been dyed red, as if it had been possessed. At the same time, the system's voice appeared. Ding! Eyes of Destruction has been activated. The destructive power of heaven and earth will explode forth. Player, please pay attention. Open your eyes and kill. Please close your eyes in the dark. Please close your eyes in the dark. Please open your eyes and kill. It was completely a reality version of the werewolf killing. However, The only difference was that with the eruption of the destructive powers of heaven and earth, the entire world turned dark. Absolutely dark. Everything was silent. Even Long Fei was unable to open his eyes. The only thing that could be seen was the heaven's eyes. Swish! He opened his eyes and scanned the skies. The Celestial Emperor, the first-generation Celestial Emperor of ancient times, all sorts of people from the primal chaos mountain. The Lord of the endless primordial chaos was even able to vaguely see them. Lord of the Chaos. If we kill the Lord of the Chaos, wouldn't that be the end of it? Long Fei's heart was moved. Eyes of extermination. Lock onto the Lord of primordial chaos. Long Fei declared with a thought. Ding, the target is not under the night sky, cannot be locked on. Please change the target. A system prompt appeared. Damn, I can't lock onto it yet. Long Fei was somewhat regretful. In comparison, the Lord of Chaos was the biggest boss and the most deadly one. If it was something that could defeat the Lord of Primal Chaos and casually drop, Long Fei had absolute confidence that he could kill the Sky Emperor in one shot. Unexpectedly, it was not locked. In addition, the Lord of all Fiends was completely unable to lock onto him. Therefore, Long Fei was also worried about whether this world-exterminating eye could kill the Lord of Primal Chaos in an instant. Helpless, he could only take a step back. Lock on. Heavenly Emperor. Long Fei immediately chose the Heavenly Emperor. As for the first-generation Heavenly Emperor from the ancient era, he was simply not a living being. He was merely an energy being summoned by the Heavenly Emperor's seal. It was nothing to worry about. As long as they could kill the Celestial Emperor, they wouldn't be able to survive either. Ding! Locked on. Instantly, the sky eye exploded. It directly peeled off Long Fei's forehead. Pain. Unparalleled pain. It was as if it had directly ripped off Long Fei's soul, causing him to almost faint on the spot. But in the end, Long Fei managed to persevere on. Pain was a common occurrence for him. After waking up, Long Fei felt his body and mind relax. He raised his head and looked at the sky eye. Damn, can you not be so impressive? Long Fei was shocked. He had not expected the sky eye to be so berserk. The power of the silence was still there. In the endless darkness, the sky eye was like a sun, brilliant heavens. As for the Celestial Emperor, he seemed to be staring at nothing, unable to find a north at all. Moreover, his entire body seemed to have been frozen in midair. He was at the mercy of others. While he's sick, take his life. This was not the time to hesitate. Long Fei was not a good person either, especially when facing a boss. It was impossible for Long Fei to give the opponent more help. I have destruction, kill. Instantly, Long Fei ordered Traversing Heavens to immediately help him recuperate. The injuries he had suffered from the first Heavenly Emperor's assault were too severe, to the point where he couldn't even make it to Soaring Sky. Suddenly, Long Fei's eyes flashed. His gaze became eager. Until now, there was one thing the system had never used before. Boss level +1. Without any hesitation, Long Fei immediately chose to use it. Ding! Player uses boss level +1 scroll. The boss is leveled up. Current level, Royal Dao Ancient Zune. The system prompted. Long Fei, you also saw the rank of the honored position. Divine beings were already the limits of one's cultivation in an unknown region. He was a supreme existence that was acknowledged by the heavens and earth, although all living beings shared the same opinion. However, there were differences in strength. 1 for 3. Supreme Realm, Supreme Gu, and Dao Sovereign. Earlier, the Celestial Emperor was merely at the peak of the Ancestor Realm. Now, he was the Ancient Emperor. Long Fei was startled, and his heart thumped once. It couldn't be that he had gone too far, right? It was because in the instant that the Heavenly Emperor acted as the Ancient Lord, he made his move. He had broken free from the restraining force of the world silence. In the distance, the Celestial Emperor regained his freedom. At first, he was stunned, but soon after, he began to laugh maniacally. Ha ha! Supreme Gu, this Emperor ascended to the Ancient Realm. The heavens are on my side. Long Fei, the current you, doesn't even feel like an ant in front of this Emperor. Sky Emperor Fist, use it. The Heavenly Emperor was extremely arrogant. He did not even consider how his cultivation had broken through in an instant. But his heart did not change. The moment he regained his freedom, they only thought of killing Long Fei. Long Fei did not move, his eyes staring straight at the Sky Emperor. Boom! A punch from the Celestial Emperor arrived in the blink of an eye. In just a blink of an eye, he had already arrived in front of Long Fei. Similarly, Long Fei did not dodge at all. Or perhaps it could not be avoided. There was no place to hide. Boom! Asterisk with a single punch, Long Fei was immediately sent flying. Puff! A mouthful of blood sprayed out from Long Fei's mouth, and his entire spirit was dispirited. The power of the Emperor Profound Realm was wreaking havoc nonstop, wildly wreaking havoc on Long Fei's body. Long Fei clenched his teeth, opened his eyes, and looked over. He was waiting. The Eye of Annihilation erupted. He placed all his hopes on this single glance. He had absolute confidence. Even the ultimate killing weapon could heavily injure the Celestial Emperor. After the mutation of the half-dead pupils, Long Fei believed even more that he would definitely be able to kill the other party. Furthermore, this was the rule of the system, since he was killing with his eyes wide open. How could the destructive powers of heaven and earth disappear if that person didn't die? What was annihilation? The system had never let him down. This time, Long Fei thought the same. And at this time, the world exterminating eye in the sky completely exploded. Endless destructive force instantly gathered. That pair of eyes was like the center of the world's destruction. It gathered all of the destructive force of the world together and then froze it. Target, Heavenly Emperor. Swish. The eyes of annihilation widened. Shwa, shwa, shwa. The heaven and earth shook, and the power of annihilation flooded him like wildfire. In the instant that it reached the Celestial Emperor, it was instantly annihilated. As for the Celestial Emperor, the madness and excitement on his face had not disappeared. But at this moment, a look of astonishment appeared on his face. His smile froze. It became incomparably panicked. No. What kind of power is this? Long Fei, it's you. What did you do? What is that thing? Get out of my body. Oh no. The Celestial Emperor roared, his voice hysterical, his entire being jumping up and down in the air like a shrew. The power of the Emperor's Tao continued to erupt from his body, attempting to expel the power of annihilation that permeated his body. However, it was impossible. One breath of time, the four limbs of the Celestial Emperor disintegrated into fine powder. 2 breaths, the Celestial Emperor's body vanished. 3 breaths of time later, the Celestial Emperor's head began to melt. This Emperor isn't willing to accept this. The Heavenly Emperor roared in pain and looked at Long Fei with incomparable hatred. But everything was useless. In the blink of an eye, the head disappeared as well. At the same time, the world regained its clarity and the destructive power that filled the sky vanished. Everything returned to normal, as if nothing had happened. The only difference was that the Celestial Emperor had disappeared. In an entire space, there was only the figure of Long Fei. On Long Fei's side, she laughed crazily. As if he had survived a disaster, he laughed out loud with bloodstains all over his face. He crawled up from the endless pit and swept the world with his ice-cold eyes. He had an expression of, "I'm invincible," on his face. At the same time, the system's voice sounded. Ding. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing the Heavenly Emperor. You have obtained 160 million experience points, 600 million holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing the Heavenly Emperor. You have obtained 160 million experience points, 600 million holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Ding! Congratulations player on obtaining Heaven King Seal. Ding! Congratulations player for obtaining Heavenly Emperor Robe. Ding! Congratulations player for obtaining Heavenly Emperor Dragonine Crown. Ding! Congratulations player for obtaining the Heavenly Emperor's Primrose Sword. Ding! Congratulations, player, for obtaining the Heavenly Emperor's Life Force technique. Do you wish to learn it? System prompt. Cultivate. Long Fei did not hesitate and immediately made his decision. Needless to say, just based on the names alone, it was a crazy and cool way to do things. Life is supreme. Who dares to say anything about Ming? Yet the Celestial Emperor dared to call him that. Why? He definitely had someone backing him up. In an instant, a flash of light passed through, and the Heavenly Emperor mantra was instantly controlled. Long Fei quickly looked at the system panel. Cultivation method. Heaven Emperor's fate technique. Attributes. Control. Suppression. Description. Blood will heaven's mandate. Life path gear. To master the Tao of life in the azure skies. Qualification. Become the king of a realm. The moment he finished reading, Long Fei's mind exploded. The path of destiny. It really is the path of destiny. To control the life of all. This is awesome. Life had always been the most ethereal thing. The path of life was unpredictable. Even the supreme powerhouse were unable to control the absolute trajectory. This point, Long Batian was the best proof. However, something like that actually dropped from the Celestial Emperor's body. It was even difficult for Long Fei to be confident in himself. You can only use it after you become the king of a realm? Really king disgusting. And then control the azure life Tao. So what the common people here are talking about should be the entire ancient world. In other words, this path of life is incomplete. It's just an incomplete path of life. Above the god of boundary, there is still an even stronger existence controlling the life of a person at the level of the god of boundary. Long Fei thought. He had never believed in destiny. A certain number. It's all bullshit. In Long Fei's worldview, these things were merely meant for the stronger people. They held a certain power and planned the fate of the weak. So, if it really existed, then there was only one thing Long Fei wanted to do. That was the variable. And then he would have to wield even more power to wipe out all those who controlled him. He had to be free and at ease. And at the same time, a blood-colored space appeared on Long Fei's chest, on his abdomen. It was hard for the naked eye to fathom. Only by using his mind and soul to perceive it would he be able to see through it. Long Fei's will sank into it, and instantly sensed these countless specks of light, which represented the trails of life. But now, his cultivation was not enough, and he had not yet become a god of boundary, so he could only sense and not affect. Long Fei didn't think too much into it. Since he couldn't use it, Long Fei didn't mind it too much. This time, killing the Celestial Emperor had been completely unexpected. But Long Fei's personality was always like this. He would never retreat. If they didn't accept it, then so be it. Not enough. 6 billion experience. Heavenly Emperor set? Not enough. This senior's half-dead skill is gone. The boss level is gone. Just these few items? System, do you think I'm easy to bully? Berserk power explode. He had wasted so many cards and tricks. With such a small amount of ingredients, Long Fei was naturally unsatisfied. Although 600 million experience was impressive, it was still too little when compared to Long Fei's current life force experience. Furthermore, there was the Heavenly Emperor armor. Each of them was of the super artifact level, and were in no way inferior to a deadly weapon. However, compared to the trump card that Long Fei had, there was still a huge gap. Thus, without the slightest hesitation, he directly exploded forth with his striking value. Ding! Congratulations, player, for obtaining the power of the best. Ding! Congratulations, player, on obtaining martial skill, Emperor's Sword. Long Fei's eyes were shut. What he was waiting for was now. The reason why the Celestial Emperor was so formidable was because the power of the Emperor realm was the key. This was a power bestowed by the heavens. I wonder what the heavenly gift power will look like after fusing with the great Tao root. Involuntarily, Long Fei started a daydream. After that, Long Fei turned his gaze towards the Lord of Primal Chaos, who was behind the endless primal chaos. Instantly, Long Fei felt an impulse in his heart. That was a head-on clash. At this time, Luluashi, Yuro, the little guy, Yiyili Yuanba, and the others also came over one by one. Hubby, are you all right? It scared me to death. Lulawashi and Uro spoke up at the same time. Their faces were filled with worry. To them, everything that had just happened was torture. They could only watch Long Fei battling bitterly without being able to help. To them, this was even more unbearable than watching his attacks land damage on their bodies. "Father," the little guy also obediently said, not saying a single word. However, his innocent face was filled with a ruthlessness that could destroy all living beings. "Father, I must become strong as soon as possible." At that time, "Whoever hurts you will be killed by me," the little guy firmly said. Long Fei laughed and did not say a word. As for Li Yuanba and the rest, they did not make a sound. However, there was a determined look in his eyes, as if he approved of the little guy's words. "I'm fine. Luckily you guys didn't come. Remember, the next time you discover that I'm in a passive state, you must leave. As for me, you all don't have to worry. I've been here for so long, yet you all still don't understand me." Long Fei comforted them one by one. However, none of them answered. Long Fei was determined. He did not care about the shocked stares from the distance, and turned to leave. Suddenly, space itself began to change. The Lord of Chaos's body instantly broke through the horizon, descending before him. Instantly, Long Fei's heart tensed up. Li Yuanba and the others instinctively moved and rushed in front of Long Fei. The Lord of Primal Chaos also didn't speak. He didn't say a word as he stared at Long Fei. A pair of sharp eyes flashed, as if they could see through Long Fei. Long Fei was scared witless by what he was seeing, and he immediately made up his mind. "You want to deal with me?" Long Fei went straight to the point and asked. These two eyes were simply too terrifying. Even Long Fei himself could feel the hairs on his entire body stand on end, as if his entire body had been seen through. Although Long Fei was confident, he wouldn't be able to discover the existence of the system. However, he still felt uncomfortable. Moreover, against the Celestial Emperor just now, the existence at the foot of the mountain of primal chaos had already been exposed. As the only person who knew the truth, Long Fei was even more certain that the appearance of the Lord of Primal Chaos was an act of uneasiness. "Kid, you really didn't disappoint me. Very good. Even Heaven's punishment throne is no longer a match for you. Then from now on, I have nothing to worry about." As the Lord of Chaos spoke, he moved his hands, and the entire mountain began to melt. Soon after, a huge ring was formed. It covered an area of 100 kilometers. It was incomparably vast. "Since you like fighting so much, I'll give you this chance. From now on, the qualification battles begin. The only rule of the qualification battles is that there are no rules. Everyone on the mountain shall enter the arena. Like a tornado, it instantly engulfed the entire world. All the figures on top of the mountain of primal chaos were swept up onto the stage in the blink of an eye, without anyone being able to control them. It was a chaotic battle. It will be up. It was an awe-inspiring display of power. Tens of thousands of people. Long Fei and the rest were not surprised either. They went straight to the center of the stage. Long Fei's face darkened. The Lord of the Chaos finally saw the end of the road. Now that even the existence of the Chaos Mountain had been exposed, there was no point in continuing to hide it. "You guys be careful later." Long Fei's voice was low, and she did not reveal the master of Primal Chaos's plans. This was too shocking. The words that came out actually made everyone uneasy. Of course, Long Fei was not the only one who was shocked. Those who were forced to enter the battlefield. He was instantly stupefied. With a sullen face, he was in extreme pain. "The Lord of all fiends, you are sending us to our deaths, aren't you? We don't want to fight. We don't want any qualifications. Let's go." "Right. We are only here to make fun of you, not to join the war." The crowd roared in anger. These few days, the entire Primal Chaos Mountain was Long Fei's personal battlefield. He slaughtered and annihilated the entire sect again and again. Now, even the Heavenly Emperor had disappeared, and without even needing to think, he was already dead because of Long Fei. How could they continue fighting like this? Even the hierarchy of heaven had no way of escaping. If they went up, wouldn't that mean they were delivering food? Not fight, then die. Their clamoring, however, had aroused the displeasure of the Lord of primordial chaos. As the sound of his voice faded, an extremely mysterious power appeared on the platform and instantly blew the speaker out of the platform. Next, a fist shadow appeared. Boom! Asterisk boom! 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 As the fist shadow passed by, everything in the air was annihilated. Endless amounts of blood mist floated down. Hiss! Instantly, everyone went silent. He didn't dare to say another word. This is the example of the past. Who wouldn't want to join the war? I'll see him off. The Lord of all fiends said coldly. His tone was extremely tyrannical. They couldn't refuse. If they didn't fight, then they would die. In this instant, not a single dissonant sound could be heard. Long Fei was equally shocked as he raised his head to look at the Lord of Primal Chaos. The current Lord of Chaos was far too focused, and it was too powerful, too absolute. It was as if a single wave wanted to dye this mountain with its blood. Immediately after, the Lord of Chaos looked towards Long Fei. Let's fight. Let's enjoy the battle. If you like killing people, then I'll let you kill as many as you want today. So many people. It should be enough to make you happy. The Lord of all fiends said coldly, in a condescending manner. Long Fei's heart turned cold. An unprecedented feeling of oppression swept over his heart. The more ardent the Lord of Chaos was, the more confident he became. Boss, what should we do? Is this old thing's brain being ridiculous? They actually let this kind of trash join the battle. Isn't this the same as delivering food to you? Li Yuanba said. He did not understand, but he knew that if Long Fei wanted to become stronger, he needed more people. These people were the best raw materials. Boss, you rest first. This bunch of trash doesn't even need you to do anything. Zhang Yuehu's body trembled. The decaying power on his body suffused. The aura of death filled the air. It was eerie and terrifying, and it sent chills down one's spine. The little guy and Iya arrived together, holding each other's hands with a look of interest on his face. But Long Fei shook his head. Kill. Naturally, he had to kill. Mosquito's legs were also meat. Now that Long Fei urgently wanted to level up, he was not willing to let even one of them go. However, before he was absolutely confident, Long Fei didn't want to rashly make a move and become the master of Chaos's chess piece. If the suppressive power of the chaotic mountain truly were to erupt, then the Lord of all fiends' scheme would succeed. At that time, would he even have the ability to fight? If all his strength was added together, could he defeat his opponent? At that time, Long Batian said that I had to at least have a stage of perfection to be able to break through this calamity. As for Long Batian, it is extremely likely that he is the owner of another system. Therefore, his words are believable. But his prediction was outside of the mutation caused by the fusion of the great Tao Root's power. What should we do? Should we bet or not? Long Fei was conflicted. If it was the him of the past, he definitely wouldn't have said that. A head-on clash was definitely not a second possibility. But now, his woman, his brother, his son, since they were both here, it made Long Fei a little nervous in his heart, and he didn't dare easily make a decision. But if he didn't act, the Lord of Chaos wouldn't let him off so easily. The primal Chaos Lord floated in the air, staring coldly at the battle on the platform. What is it? You won't do anything? If that's the case, then I will add another pile of firewood. 7 Chaos children, come out. The Lord of all fiends said coldly. So. In the blink of an eye, 7 figures pierced through the sky. Every single one of them had an extremely powerful aura. They were all at the peak of the supreme, great, complete realm, and there was even a faint, unique radiance circulating on their bodies. 7 Chaos children. What's going on? Isn't Long Fei the son of primal chaos? Why did the 7 Chaos children appear again? This conspiracy, a huge conspiracy. I want to go. I don't want to be here. As the figure of the Chaos child appeared, The chilling, murderous aura that filled the skies explained everything. Long Fei was also stunned. Lord of Chaos, this was a showdown. Especially when Long Fei shifted his gaze towards the seven figures, he suddenly trembled. Zhao Hao, Qin Wei, Li Wuyu, Li Wuming, Tian Luhu, and Tian Badeo, other than the last one that Long Fei did not recognize. The rest of the seven children of the primal chaos were all extremely familiar with each other. Impossible. They're already dead. They can't possibly still be alive. Long Fei was astonished. All these people had died under his hands. So how could someone who was sentenced to death by the system still be alive? Immediately, Long Fei turned his gaze towards the Lord of the primal chaos. It's him. What is he trying to do? Long Fei became increasingly hesitant in his heart. On the one hand, he was trying to ignite conflicts between them so that he could kill them. On the one hand, they were resurrected. Why, exactly? Are you surprised? The primal chaos leader chuckled. His smile was still warm, but it was enough to send chills down one's spine. Everyone was dumbfounded. Then, they came to their senses and looked at Long Fei. Nothing out of the ordinary. After all, you've set up such a big trap. Aren't you waiting for now? Unfortunately, I will not allow you to do as you wish. Although your scheme is amazing, you still need me. But from now on, if I don't kill anyone, the existence at the foot of the mountain won't be able to come out. At that time, what should you do? What can you do? Long Fei said sarcastically, without fear. Since he had already said this, Long Fei did not want to feign ignorance. Not one is killed. Long Fei, you are too naive. From the moment you entered the unknown, this seat has been in the layout. The seven sons of primal chaos created by the Golden Lotus, allowing you to massacre the entire unknown land step by step, even overturning the entire Sky Empire. Do you think you can let go without even saying a word? Impossible. The Lord of Chaos felt confident and confident. The Lord of Chaos felt confident and confident. It was as if everything was under his control. You said it's impossible, so it's impossible. Is the Lord of Chaos invincible? If you have the ability, then kill yourself? Long Fei was disdainful. He had already seen through it, and Long Batian had even seen through it with just a few words. These people must be killed by him. Only then would it be effective. Otherwise, with the Lord of Chaos's power, it would only take an instant to destroy the entire unknown land. However, he didn't. Instead, he would lay down such a monstrous situation for himself to kill. This meant that he was the key to the Lord of Chaos's plan. So if I don't kill you, what can you do? Ha ha ha. Long Fei, till now. Do you think you still have a chance to turn the tables? If I didn't have the certainty, do you think I would have revealed my hand? If you don't kill me, do you think you have the right to do so now? Seven Chaos children attack. The Lord of all fiends ordered. In the blink of an eye, seven figures enter the crowd. One by one, screams of agony after another sounded out. No, don't kill me. What? Heavens, help me. Don't kill me. Lord of the Chaos, I'll fuck your mother. Puff. In the blink of an eye, screams of agony could be heard. Countless people had died. Long Fei remained cold and indifferent, completely ignoring him. He had never done too many things like killing people. Even when he was in a bad mood, he would still kill. But just as the screams came to an end, Long Fei's expression changed. He was completely shocked. CK, your grandpa, what's going on? Long Fei looked astonished, because at this moment, the system's notification rang in his ears. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing little bro Zhang San. Obtained 1,000 EXP, 0 Holy Source points, 1 striking value point. Ding! Ding ding ding. One after another. In just a breath of time, Long Fei gained several million experience. Haha, how is it? You won't kill me? It doesn't matter if you kill me or not. If you don't kill, there will be someone to kill for you. The Lord of all fiends laughed wildly, a smug look on his face. Long Fei's face darkened, completely unexpected. He had never imagined that the Lord of Chaos would have the ability to do such a thing. A coquettish comparison. Boss, has this old man gone silly? What are you talking about? Liu and Ba and the rest were all dumbfounded. They had no idea what was going on. Long Fei did not speak. He had no idea how to explain it. However, their gazes were locked onto the 7 people in the crowd. Instantly, he understood. At this very moment, he actually felt that these 7 people were somehow related to him. The aura of primal chaos around him was extremely familiar. Every time he made a move, his aura of being the son of primal chaos instantly lit up. Jade pendant. The heck, it turns out that you've already set up some tricks at that time. Old thing, you really hid your strength well. In a moment, Long Fei completely understood everything. It turned out that he had already walked out of the Abyss Demon Prison. By the time the Golden Chaos Lotus had appeared, the Lord of all Fiends had already set his sights on him. After that, when he killed Zhao Hao, he allowed himself to become the son of primal chaos. And then everything happened. He had never thought of this. Haha, so what if I understand? The current you, do you still have the qualifications to challenge me? Who in the entire ancient world would dare to challenge me? Long Fei, just you wait. Once all these people die, it will be your day of death. The Lord of all Fiends stood proudly in the air as he spoke quietly. In his words, he was extremely excited. It was as if he had personally planted a seed and was harvesting it now. Long Fei's expression also became more and more unsightly, as though he was extremely aggrieved in his heart. He was powerless to stop it. So what if he had seen through the other party's scheme? It was still the same as always. He was being played in the palm of his hand. At this moment, the little guy, unparalleled dragon, had an angry look on his face as he punched towards the sky with his little fist. Old man, you schemed against my father. Go to hell. In the blink of an eye, God of Underworld broke through the horizon and punched the Lord of Primal Chaos. No, Long Fei roared. Someone at the level of the Lord of Primal Chaos, who was from the same era as Long Batian, would definitely not be a match for this little fellow, no matter how strong it was. However, it was too late. The Lord of Primordial Chaos didn't even pay attention to this god of Underworld's punch at all. With a casual wave of his hand, he was annihilated. Puff! The little guy was hit by the backlash and fainted. Such a power dares to attack this reputed one. Even the ancient emperor would have to bow before me. How dare you all be so impudent? Long Fei, you are useless. I have tolerated you being so arrogant for so long. The Lord of all Fiends' eyes turned cold as he pressed downwards. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Instantly, the entire primal chaos region erupted. The endless power of primal chaos transformed into an endless pressure, forming a tornado. It swept down from the skies. Wherever he went, there were no remains at all. Thousands of people vanished into thin air. But this power did not dissipate, because the target was Long Fei. Long Fei's eyes were scarlet red, his anger exploding. This little fellow was his reverse scale. Even if he had to use his life, Long Fei had to protect him. But now he had actually been injured so badly by the Lord of the Chaos World. It was hard to tell if he was alive or dead. How could Long Fei not be angry? Long Batian, fuck your ancestors. Long Fei was furious. He instantly connected the root of the Great Way of the Buddha to the Heavenly Emperor armor that was revealed earlier. Ding! Heaven Emperor seal mutated and leveled up. Ding! Heaven Emperor robe mutated, upgraded to Soul Forbidden robes. Ding! Heavenly Emperor Dragon Een Crown has mutated, upgraded to Azure Dragonhorn. Ding! The Heavenly Emperor Ascendant Swords mutation, leveled up to the Divine Punishment. Ding! Mutation set, activated special skill, Extinguishing Life. Ding! Variant set beginning to fuse. The system's notification sound continued to ring out, and Long Fei's eyes became colder and colder. One by one, the mutated suits with different attributes and different strengths began to merge. The power attribute also appeared in front of Long Shi. Skill: destroy all living beings. Attribute: void. Description: mutation set special abilities. 4 mutation god equipment have been fused to trigger the ultimate skill. Ignore level, 100% kill. Restricted condition, target is a living being. The conditions were very special, causing Long Fei to be slightly stunned. But now, he didn't have the time to think about it. A dragon has a reverse scale. Touch it and you will die. Even the Lord of all Fiends wouldn't be able to do it. Since he had done it, even if he had to risk his life, Long Fei would definitely make his opponent lose a layer of skin. This is his attitude. Whoever dares to provoke me will do it. 1 breath of time, 2 breaths of time. After 2 breaths of time, all the mutated equipment finally merged together. Instantly, with a thought from Long Fei, an incomparably ferocious power appeared in his hands. Since you want to kill him, then kill him. Today, no one can even think of living. Annihilate all living things. Annihilate for me. Life and death, the only result of a battle to the death. Life and death, the only result of a battle to the death. Either survive or perish. Long Fei gave his all for the sake of survival, defense, and protection. The mutation of the Sky Emperor's set had meant that he had trained himself to an extraordinary level. Now that he had 4 combined, he was even more like a Transformers. The God-subduing seal was like a giant mountain, rumbling through the world. The soul-forbidden robes flickered carelessly and continuously, but they became a forbidden land of souls. Just their aura alone became the source of extermination for the Celestial Emperor. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Countless people on the primal Chaos Mountain were stunned. His soul was sucked into the forbidden soul robe, as if it was uncontrollable. The power of the soul band instantly exploded out. And it was also Azure Dragon's horn. Roar! A world-shocking roar sounded. An Azure Dragon stretched across the primordial chaos, spiraling through the air. It was filled with terrifying power, and its breath was filled with destructive power. Wherever it passed, it became a field of white and a boundless wilderness. The divine Punisher blade also instantly flashed with a soaring sword light. The 4 types of powers intersected and intersected, causing the entire mountain of primordial chaos to be transformed into a danger zone. With every breath he took, people would die. I'll stop. I can't accept it. I still have endless lifespan, and I still have a chance to break through to the throne. I beg of you, this is your problem. Don't implicate us. One after another, they were all suffering in order to survive. But Long Fei, completely indifferent. These people had always been full of hostility towards him. If he didn't have the skills, he would have been pushed down by the crowd long ago. As for the Lord of Primordial Chaos, he didn't care either. Of course, even though he was the Lord of the Chaos, he wouldn't be at ease right now. Annihilate all living things? Is this your power? The Lord of all Fiends narrowed his eyes. It became incomparably solemn. Yes, this is my power. What Lousy wants to destroy is not all living beings. Lousy wants to destroy only you. Long Fei said coldly. In an instant, he took a step forward. The power in his hand was incomparably brilliant as it was pushed out with a loud bang. In the blink of an eye, the divine seal of suppression covered the entire world, crushing everything in its path. The black dragon roared and crashed into the black dragon. Countless souls in the forbidden soul robes struggled as they ferociously attacked forward. In addition, the divine Punisher blade shone with sharpness as it stabbed straight towards the Lord of all Fiends. In that instant, the Lord of all Fiends' face changed. It was no longer as ferocious as it was before. He became extremely flustered. Even he felt a sense of impending doom. Impossible. In the end, you're just an ant. How could your strength be so explosive? The Lord of the Chaos took a step back, cupping his hands around himself. In the blink of an eye, all of the power of chaos on the mountain was concentrated in his hands. It transformed into a blade made of primal chaos and slashed out. Boom! A huge explosion resounded. The blade of chaos was completely useless. It was directly crushed by the God-subduing seal. And at the same time, The divine seal of suppression crumbled. But this time, the power of the divine seal did not dissipate, instead fusing directly with the power of annihilation. Instantly, the number of soul seals rose dramatically. A divine soul rushed into the sky and absorbed the power of the suppressive divine imprint. It then opened its bloody mouth and bit towards the imprint. Ka! Ah! Half of the Lord of Chaos's body was bitten off. The endless power of primordial chaos began to emanate outwards. The Lord of Chaos was in tremendous pain as well. At the same time, the entire soul-forbidden robe shattered inch by inch and finally turned into an endless amount of soul force, adding onto the Azure Dragon's body. In the distance, Long Fei's face looked excited. Haha, it's actually a combo skill. One ring after another, and its power directly affects the next attack. Awesome! Long Fei laughed out loud. The Lord of Primordial Chaos was injured. Half of his body was engulfed. Moreover, these were only 2 attacks. There were also 2 times when he would be even more powerful. When that happened, the Lord of Chaos would undoubtedly die. Instantly, Long Fei heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. At the same time, a roar that could pierce the heavens erupted. Long Fei, I will kill you. No one can suppress me. Long Batian is finished. I am the only one who will remain immortal for all eternity. How could he be turned over by a piece of trash? Destroy! A furious roar came from the primal chaos. His voice pierced through the 9 heavens and the 10 earth, causing ripples of primal chaos. Endless amounts of chaotic force converged into a line in the entire world. With the Lord of Primal Chaos at the center, chaos swept about in a berserk fashion. The Lord of Primordial Chaos was the ruler of the primordial chaos. His will was the supreme existence of the entire Bedlam lands. Otherwise, the Celestial Emperor wouldn't be willing to lower his head. Boom! It was as if the sky had collapsed and the earth had collapsed. An inexhaustible pressure began to come crushing down. No one could hurt me. Long Fei, you have to pay the price for your actions. Primal Chaos Explosion. Half of the body of the Lord of Primordial Chaos was still as savage as ever. Explode. It all depended on who could explode. Azure Dragon, explode for me. How could he submit after betting all 4 of his treasures? Impossible. Roar. The instant Long Fei's voice fell. The Azure Dragon soared into the sky as the 30,000-meter dragon god turned into the heavens. It pressed down, and at this time, the raging chaos burst apart. To destroy everything, any presence that was tainted by the aura of the explosion of primal chaos would instantly disappear without a trace. But there was only one exception. That was the Azure Dragon's incarnation. The massive dragon body was like a flame that was about to break through the heavens and earth. The Azure Dragon's horn glistened brilliantly and was incomparably bright. The vicious blade flashed with a cold light as it broke through the chaos. It continued to sink. He only had one goal, and that was the Lord of Primordial Chaos. No, impossible. How could such a power exist in this world? The Lord of Primordial Chaos was instantly thrown into a state of panic. Half of his body instantly disappeared into the air, attempting to flee. However, it was too late. Moreover, this was locked by the system. Even if he were to hide outside the heaven, it would be useless. The Azure Dragon's horn blasted through the Lord of All Fiends' chest, piercing straight through it. Rumble! Instantly, the Lord of All Fiends' chaos energy vanished as well. As for the son of Primal Chaos, who only his head was left, he was still not destroyed, and the rest had already been turned into dust. Impossible. Is it possible now? The Lord of Primordial Chaos? Chief Sovereign of Chaos. Is it that amazing? It's great to be able to control this daddy step by step, isn't it? Now it's even more incredible. Long Fei completely relaxed his mind. As expected, the power of the system did not disappoint him. Right now, there was still one more instance where he had yet to unleash his most explosive power. The Lord of Chaos was already doomed to die. With only a head left, Would he still be able to act smug? Divine Punisher Blade, chop. Long Fei shouted as his entire body appeared before the Lord of Primal Chaos. With the Divine Punisher Blade in hand, he slashed down with his sword. This type of ultimate boss had to personally kill it to have a greater sense of accomplishment. As for the head of the Lord of Chaos, it was powerless to resist. No, Long Fei, I won't die. If you dare to make a move, I will make you die without a burial ground. The Lord of the Chaos was still as tough as ever. Not die. Even Long Batian would die. Will you not die? Since your father is the one who is going to make a move, there is no one who won't die. Die. The immortal execution sword will be destroyed. What do you mean, immortal execution? What do you mean, immortal execution? Only by exterminating an immortal god could he be called an immortal execution. Even an immortal deity could be destroyed. What was there to not perish? Moreover, just from the name alone, this move was a symbol of invincibility. Although Long Fei was not sure what the connection between this attack of the Divine Punisher Blade and the Divine Punisher Blade in his memory, but he could be sure its power was definitely extraordinary. Swish! Just like this moment, when the sword beam swept past, the world was destroyed. The Lord of Chaos, who was in the middle of shouting, instantly lost all signs of life. Under the sharp gaze of the sword, he was directly blown to smithereens. Then, the light of the Divine Punisher Blade in Long Fei's hand slowly faded. Then it exploded. Long Fei stood in the air and turned around to look. The huge platform had already been dyed in blood. The smell of blood rose to the heavens. It filled the void. Tens of thousands of people had died in the clash of his divine abilities against the Lord of Chaoses. Merely experiences, big and small, had brought Long Fei billions. It was enough to prove the cruelty of this battle. Of course, there were also some who survived. These people had slightly stronger cultivations, or they might have extraordinary divine treasures to defend against the aftermath of the battle. But of course, not a single one of the 7 Chaos children had died. However, Long Fei did not take it to heart. Even the child of Primal Chaos was killed. The remaining 7 were nothing. It's okay, it's okay. The Lord of all fiends is dead. Everything is over. Long Fei walked over to Lu Luoxi and the rest sighed. He said with a relaxed expression, "Hubby, Invincible's injuries are very severe. The power within his body is surrounded by chaos, and only by expelling that power can he wake up." Lu Luoxi's face was filled with grief. Suddenly, Long Fei's face turned cold. The little fellow now was the original intention of his battle. He was tenacious, unyielding, never bow your head. It was to protect. But now he was still seriously injured. Suddenly, a sense of defeat arose in Long Fei's heart. "Boss, you don't have to be too sad. He is the inheritor of the god of Underworld. If he were to devour the heart of the god of Underworld, maybe he would be able to recover." Li Wuxin said. It could be said that he was the one with the most comprehensive inheritance. Compared to the others, his power was also the most special. Because before Long Fei had awakened him, he was already on the path of finding his own strength. Heart of the god of Underworld. Instantly, Long Fei's eyes lit up. Long ago from the Sky Spill's secret world, Long Fei found out about a special existence. There were 13 emperors with the ultimate power. Since Li Wuxin had said so, it meant that there was a place of hope. Since it was hope, Long Fei would never give up. Fine, let's leave this unknown region now and head to the place where the 10,000 worlds meet. Long Fei immediately said, this little guy was his life, and even if he had to face off against 13 emperors, Long Fei would do it to the end. After Long Fei finished speaking, he carried the little fellow and was about to tear apart the void. Everyone followed him. However, at this moment, something shocking happened. The air seemed to have become petrified. No matter how hard Long Fei tried to activate the hand of primal chaos, he could not move an inch. Following that, Li Yuanba, Li Wuxin, Zhang Yu, and the rest all made their moves. In the end, however, it was still unable to tear through the void. It was as if a chaos cage had unknowingly sealed off all escape routes. F***CK, boss, is this still the aura of primal chaos? This is the absolute primal chaos realm, right? The decaying power on Zhang Yu's body exploded, filled with a corrosive aura. All life melted away. However, in the instant it touched the nodes in the chaotic space, it disappeared completely. It was as if a clay ox had entered the sea, and there was no reaction at all. In that moment, Long Fei's eyes dimmed. A sense of danger suddenly surfaced in his heart. Suddenly, an earth-shaking terror appeared in Long Fei's heart. Not good. The Lord of Primordial Chaos isn't dead at all. Long Fei immediately tensed up. Until now, there had been no sound from the system. Furthermore, when he killed the Lord of Chaos, there wasn't a single trace of the boss light. No health bar. The attribute is not, even if it was just a wild comparison. But it didn't have any of the boss's features. It was also at this time that Long Fei suddenly thought of the conditions for the annihilation of all beings. Life form, valid only for life forms. The F***CK. I wasn't the Lord of Chaos at all. Long Fei shouted in horror. At the same time, a wild laughter came from behind him. Long Fei suddenly turned around and saw a seventh son of the primal chaos walking out faintly from afar. Behind him were 6 people who looked like zombies. They were expressionless and lifeless. Ha, Hana, do you understand? It's too late. Long Fei, I must say, I have still underestimated you. Fortunately, I made 2 preparations, and what you just killed was just a body made of pure energy. It's just a puppet controlled by a single thought of mine. Right now, this body is where my true strength lies. Haha, how is it? I didn't think that you would still be too inexperienced to fight against me. The 7th son of the primal chaos laughed out loud. In the blink of an eye, his face began to change as an endless aura of primal chaos flashed across his body. Slowly, it transformed into the appearance of the Lord of Primordial Chaos. At the same time, the information of the Lord of Primal Chaos appeared in front of Long Fei. The dazzling light of the boss pierced through the sky and lit up the world. Long Fei stared intently as his eyes slightly narrowed, feeling the urgency in his heart. Because this time, it was all question marks. Ever since Long Fei broke through, there were very few bosses that gave out question marks. No matter how powerful they were, there was a limit. But now, the true form of the Primal Chaos Lord had appeared. There was simply no way to see it all. What is it? Aren't you crazy? If you want to blow me up, then you have to see if you have the ability to do so. Now, no matter how berserk your power is, it's useless. You won't have the chance. Even the inheritance of the Emperor behind you will become my power. In the ancient world, I am the only qualified one. I shall become the eternal god of boundary. The Lord of all fiends was incomparably arrogant. He seemed to be the final winner. Long Fei didn't say a word as he stared at the Lord of Primal Chaos. He was burning with anxiety. Yuan Ba, you guys leave. Remember, protect them well. Also, 7 King Kongs should also be in the crowd at the Primal Chaos platform. If a huge battle breaks out later, the 2 of you will be the first to come together. After that, you can leave immediately. Long Fei said in a serious tone. Li Yuanba was startled for a moment, and then his face darkened. Boss, you know everything? Since that's the case, let's face it head on. If the 8 of us join forces, we'll also have one more powerful move. Adding on their strength, it's not impossible for them to fight. Li Yuanba said urgently. Long Fei could feel it, but he could naturally also sense the auras of several Vajra as well. Long Fei shook his head. If it was before, Long Fei would naturally not retreat. But now no. This was because the entire Primal Chaos Mountain had already begun to transform. The Lord of Chaos's plans had been harvested. At this moment, the Lord of all fiends suddenly leapt into the air. The time has come, Primal Chaos, turn around. The sea of blood swept through heaven and earth. The sea of blood swept through heaven and earth. An earth-shattering roar was heard by the primal chaos lord. It shook out from the mountain of primal chaos, rushing back into the world. Rumble. In that instant, the entire primal chaos mountain completely collapsed, as though it couldn't withstand the pressure of the mountain at all. Disintegration. Long Fei responded instantly as the hand of primal chaos swept Lu Luoxi and the others away before jumping into the air. At the same time, those lucky survivors on the mountain didn't care about anything else and impatiently left the mountain as well. Right now, the mountain was a forbidden zone. Violent blood, energy meant the end of his life. Some of the people who weren't able to flee in time were instantly flooded by the bloody mist. In an instant, he was devoured into a dried-up bone, and his entire cultivation and spirit blood's power were merged within. So. In the blink of an eye, it covered the entire sky and earth. Want to run? That's impossible. It's been too long, and I've been suppressed here for far too long. Now is the time to turn the world upside down. All of you, he will be the first person to witness my glory. Therefore, use your lives and tremble under my power. The Lord of all fiends moved his hands. Blood-red threads interweaved between his hands. The intersecting chaos was directly linked to the collapse of the primal chaos mountain. Instantly, an extremely terrifying scene appeared. In the hands of the Lord of the Chaos, the number of blood veins continued to increase. Without even adding one more, a person was directly ripped apart. Endless amounts of blood and chi flowed through him, stimulating his existence at the foot of the mountain of primal chaos. In the blink of an eye, 1,296 blood veins extended through the void, and the presence at the foot of the mountain of primal chaos was completely exposed. Chaos, my physical body has finally appeared. The nourishment of countless flesh and blood over the ages. This time, I'm going to make 10,000 worlds tremble. No one can stop me. Chaos, turn around. The Lord of all fiends went berserk, his voice hysterical. Boom! At this moment, a loud sound echoed out. Swish! The entire primal chaos mountain was gone without a trace, and the moment it appeared, a blood-red figure stood in mid-air. It was incomparably terrifying. In the distance, Long Fei's heart had also continuously sunk. The Lord of the Chaos was full of question marks. Add this so-called primordial chaos? To what extent should they go berserk? Go quickly. In an instant, Long Fei made a decision and turned to leave. Li Yuanba and the rest did not dare to stay, following Long Fei. Break for me. Long Fei bellowed, used all his strength, and punched towards the sky. Rumble. The air rumbled, but it was only the shaking of the rift. Under Long Fei's punch, there actually wasn't even the slightest hint of a crack. I'll do it. Berserk fighting against the heavens. Li Yuanba instantly transformed. With his 15 meters of berserk body, he punched towards the sky. Rumble, rumble, rumble. There was also a burst of explosions. But at the same time, the void remained as stable as it had ever been. After that, Li Wuxin, Zhang Yu, and Yu Rou made their moves one after the other. However, the result was the same as before, and the void was stable. It was like becoming a dead end. In another place, Aoya and the rest were also frenziedly bombarding the void, try to break out of this space. But the result was the same. The power of the 7 King Kongs was unleashed one by one, and the sky was as hard as iron. It was also at this time. Long Fei. Do you still want to escape? As the most important part of my plan, how can I let you go? They're just the appetizers. You're the real main course. Now is the time to realize your worth. Chaos. Swallow him. The Lord of Chaos gave the order. Roar. In the blink of an eye, a gigantic blood figure soared into the sky. It opened its mouth wide, facing Long Fei. It engulfed over. In an instant, an extremely heavy feeling surfaced in Long Fei's heart. There was no way to dodge it. F***CK. Damn it. Do you really think I don't have any power? Level 8 burst. Since he had nowhere to run, He could only take it head-on. However, the moment he made his move, Long Fei fled far away from the center of the battle, in order to avoid harming Li Yuanba and the others. The Chaos Blood Shadow instantly chased after him as well. Roar! Its huge mouth opened from the void. Boom! He punched out. Drops of blood continued to fall off the body of the Chaos Blood Shadow. Drops of blood that contained berserk power dripped down from the corner of his mouth, falling onto Long Fei's body. Sigh! Sigh! Suddenly, Long Fei's expression froze. It was as if his entire body was being burned by flames. It was incomparably painful and scorching. Even with his current fleshly body, he wouldn't be able to withstand it. Moreover, wherever the blood droplets touched would immediately begin to corrode. It was as if he wanted to melt Long Fei. Haha, resign yourself to your fate. Long Fei, you won't be able to jump into my palm. Kill you, what Long Batian, what mysterious power, they are all in my hands. And you, from the beginning to the end, are only a pawn, a pitiful worm. The Lord of Primordial Chaos's eyes were blazing with fire as he stared fixedly at the skies. It was as if in the next moment, all his thoughts would come true. In the distance, Li Yuanba's men looked like they were about to explode. He couldn't bear it any longer. Making them watch Long Fei being swallowed was something they could not do. Old thing, I'll fight it out with you. The power of Berserk. Li Yuanba roared and started running step by step. He was incredibly fast. In the blink of an eye, he was already in front of the Lord of all fiends. Next, a punch exploded out. Boom! Violent power scattered everywhere, destroying the heavens and the earth, burying the earth and moon. However, just as the power was about to explode in front of the primordial chaos, with the initiative of the primal chaos, a streak of blood burst from his hand, after which it turned into a blood fist and punched out. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The void exploded, and space itself erupted. At the point where the two fists collided, an endless amount of fire exploded out. Boom! A loud sound echoed out. Li Yuanba's body directly fell from the sky, and his right arm powerlessly collapsed. In addition, a streak of blood ran through his entire body. Boom! In an instant, countless blood-red lights submerged Li Yuanba's body. Instantly, Li Yuanba fainted, and his entire body seemed to have turned into a bloody person. As he moved, the aura around his body became extremely weak. Brother Yuanba. Li Wuxin took a step forward and looked at the unconscious Li Yuanba. His entire person was filled with ferocity. With both fists clenched, he grasped the Supreme Beauty sword in his hands. Annihilate the world. Li Wuxin was on the verge of going crazy. He focused all of the destructive power in his body on one sword strike. He wanted to sever the blood veins of the primordial chaos. This was the only way to sever the connection between the Lord of Primal Chaos and the Primal Chaos Blood Chi and save Long Fei. Clang! The long sword rumbled as it pierced through the skies. The extinction sword intent covered the entire sky and earth. Kill! Li Wuxin roared. But at that moment, the Lord of Chaos smiled. However, he still gave a disdainful smile. You overestimate yourself. With this kind of power, you actually dare to attack me? You ignorant fool. Even if I were you, I would still tremble in fear if I were to meet your face to face with you. Break for me. Blood strings swirled in the air. Blood strings swirled in the air. The 1,296 blood veins seemed to follow some sort of pattern. Every time the Lord of the Chaos attacked, he used a tiny bit of it. But as time goes on, there will be another path to be added. Puffed. The blood string shot out. It was as if even the Imperial armament was unable to stop it, and the Supreme Beauty sword's sword intent was immediately devoured. Even the Extinction sword. They all broke directly from the middle line. Puff! Li Wuxin was struck by the power of the blood vein, and just like Li Yuanba, he fainted. His aura was also extremely weak. Who else? Ha ha ha, Long Fei, you are useless. Not only you, your brothers, your subordinates are also trash. Isn't it bad? How does it feel to see your brothers fall one by one in front of you? The Lord of all fiends said softly. Endless ridicule. Naked disdain. In the air, Long Fei was also fighting with all his might. He endured the corrosive power and struck the body of the chaotic virtues again and again. However, the chaotic body was like an iron tower. Its defense was heaven-defying and simply could not be broken. Lord of the Chaos, this old man doesn't care what tricks you use. If you have the ability, come at me. If you dare hurt them, even if I die, I will skin you alive. Long Fei roared, his eyes bloodshot. Haha, are you angry? So what if I'm angry? Weakness is the original sin. With a situation like this, you still want to overturn the heavens, and you still want to make a comeback and ruin my plans? I'm telling you, it's impossible. You're nothing more than trash. Today, not only will I kill you, I will also have you watch over your brothers, your women, and your sons as they die before you. Then, in endless despair, you will end your life. The Lord of all fiends laughed wildly as his eyes flickered. Another burst of blood veins appeared. This time there were 10 at once. The 10 blood strings crisscrossed each other as they circled in the air. After that, they both shot out. Instantly, Lu Luoshi activated the power of Purple Star. Rumble. A violet light radiated from his body, but he had not used it yet. Boom. Asterisk the blood strings swept over. Yuro held her Sky Evolution Staff in her hands, blocking right in front of Lu Luoshi, trying to restrain the blood veins. But in the blink of an eye, yet another power pierced through the air. Bang bang. The two figures were immediately smashed apart and fell to the ground. Next was Zhang Yu. As he roared, Zhang Yu's body began to rot. The decaying power first corroded its own body, then it began to erode the heavens and earth. However, the consequences of doing so would be extremely disastrous. There was even the possibility of him becoming addicted and perishing on the spot. But now he couldn't think of that. Boss, eldest sister-in-law, I'll go first. Old thing, follow me to hell. Zhang Yu roared in madness. With just you? Not yet. The Lord of all fiends let out a cold laugh, a cold look in his eyes. In an instant, a streak of blood split apart and directly ended Zhang Yu's decaying power. Boom. Asterisk he fell down again. Long Fei, who was in the air, felt his heart bleeding. Weakness, hate, anger, all sorts of emotions appeared in his mind. No. Long Fei's eyes disregarded the pain on his body and allowed the power of the chaotic blood shadow to corrode his body. As if he had gone mad, he charged towards Lu Luoshi and the others. However, he did not wait for Long Fei to arrive. 7 more surges of energy appeared out of nowhere. Unparalleled sword force, the strength of Black Knife S, the power of controlling the spirit, the power of Arhut, defense, the power of the 7 King Kongs erupted. It broke through the horizon. However, in the instant it touched the palm of the Lord of Chaos, it was instantly annihilated. Boom, 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 bang bang. 7 figures appeared in front of Long Fei, one after another, directly under the control of the Lord of Primal Chaos. 7 King Kongs. Long Fei roared. He stared angrily at the Lord of all fiends. His heart was filled with blood, and he was in incomparable pain. These were all his brothers, but they were all severely injured by the Lord of Chaos. Chaotic Master's power was wreaking havoc within his body, causing his aura to weaken nonstop. How about it? I've said that all of your trump cards are nothing in front of me. Are you angry? Despair? But so what? It would be fine if you could just be a pawn in peace. But I have to do it. Today, not only will they die, even you have no place to escape to. Body of Primal Chaos, member power. Let's fuse. As he spoke, the 1,200 blood veins in the Lord of Chaos hands fused together, making him the only one left. Rumble. In an instant, the entire world turned blood red. At this moment, the entire world rushed into the chaotic body. Boom! Roar! The blood shadow and the endless blood veins began to merge together. In the instant that the two streams of power began to merge together, the Lord of all Fiends' form disappeared as well. They all merged into one. In the blink of an eye, the entire world was silent. The unknown region of primal chaos began to shake non-stop, and the surrounding hundreds of millions of miles began to rumble and fall at the same time. Long Fei's face was gloomy, his body continuing to sink. Boundless despair. He had no power to resist. At this moment, he only wanted to send his brothers and women away. In the distance, the world changed. A corner of the divine space slowly emerged. I finally succeeded. Today, the unknown land has disappeared, and the ancient world has completely merged into one. This Emperor's era is about to arrive. Long Batian can't suppress me. Chingy can't suppress me. The people outside this region won't be able to suppress me either. The Lord of Primordial Chaos laughed wildly. A savage aura emanated from him, filling the heavens and earth. It was also at this time that the Emperor Xian, who had returned to the divine space, suddenly opened his eyes. In Xian Nationality's heavenly palace, the figure of the Emperor Xian flashed and immediately appeared. Lord of the Chaos, how did he break out from the ground? What happened in this unknown place? Pajun, what happened? Emperor Xian's face changed. The violence of this aura was something even he couldn't ignore. Great Emperor, I don't know what happened either. However, the unknown place has collapsed and is currently fusing with the divine space. In addition, there's a surge of power that is extremely berserk, destroying the heavens and the earth. Moreover, as Pajun spoke, he hesitated. Emperor Xian's face congealed. And what? Although the Lord of Primal Chaos was terrifying, it was not enough to make the Emperor Xian fear him. What Pajun said had caught his attention. Moreover, the moment the unknown land crumbled, I seemed to have sensed Long Fei's aura. As Sky Sovereign Pajun said this, he lowered his head. Crack, crack, crack. Immediately, the sound of Emperor Xian clenching his fists could be heard. That trash isn't dead yet. What I want you to eat. Since the two realms have merged together, then there will no longer be any place for him to hide. Go. If you still can't kill Long Fei this time, then commit suicide out of fear of your crimes, Emperor Xian said coldly. In a place where the two worlds merged. In a place where the two worlds merged. The Lord of Primordial Chaos was the ruler of all creation, controlling the universe. No living beings dared to come into contact with him in his berserk mode. How many years has it been? This seat has finally waited until today. Now, I'm only one step away. Long Fei, as long as we kill you and get your hands on spirit blood, I have a premonition that we will be able to take a step further. At that time, whatever Emperor Xian or alien powerhouse will tremble under this emperor's feet. Now go to hell. The Lord of all Fiends was utterly berserk. At this moment, his energy had been completely fused, and his primal chaos body was completely fused into one. The savage aura completely intimidated the world and dominated everything. Every word contained the power to attack, causing the heavens to tremble. As he spoke, the Lord of Primordial Chaos struck out with his fist. No fancy decorations, no extra decorations. Just one punch. But this punch surpassed all other techniques. This was because this punch contained the power to kill. Rumble, 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 rumble. Rumbling sounds could be heard, and everything began to crack. The void collapsed, and the world collapsed. They weren't able to withstand the power of the Lord of the Primal Chaos and were immediately annihilated, becoming a part of the divine space. But at this moment, Long Fei slowly raised his head. It was full of hatred. At this moment, the desperate situation had arrived. Adversity was hard to come by. Now, he finally understood why Long Batian was so wary of him and wanted him to break through to the super great complete realm. because the difference was simply too great. The difference was so great. There was no way to break through. There was no need to even think about the power of the god of heaven madman. Even his attacks were useless against it. As for everything else, it was even more useless. This was the first time Long Fei felt that he was so useless. There was even a hint of remorse and remorse. If he hadn't killed Li Wuming, he might have been able to recuperate in another 2 days. Perhaps he might have been able to advance another level. As long as he rose another level, the result would be different. But now it was too late. I'm sorry, I've harmed all of you. However, as long as I, Long Fei, am still alive, I will definitely not let you go first. I can still use steel. Long Fei looked at Lu Luoxi and the rest, a warm ray of light flashing across his eyes. It seemed to be his last gaze of gentleness. Then it froze on the little guy's body. A drop of blood fell down silently, after which his eyes were bloodshot. When he raised his head, he stood straight, still stubborn. Trash. Since you want to act tough, then I shall give you this chance. You will die under my strongest attack in the midst of your self-righteous strength. As the Lord of Chaos spoke, his aura erupted, and he unleashed yet another wave of power. It fused into the punch he had thrown earlier. In the blink of an eye, the fist descended. Boom! Long Fei was completely powerless to resist. The immortal body had long since disappeared, so the only thing he could do was take it head-on. With a single punch, Long Fei's entire being was pierced through. A huge bloody hole appeared in his abdomen. But in the next moment, Long Fei still forcibly stood up. His eyes were bloodshot, as if he had gone insane. He can still stand up? He's just a piece of trash. There's no need for me to risk my life. Since you are so tough, if I don't kill you, I will let myself down. If one punch isn't enough, then give me another. Boom! The Lord of Primordial Chaos once more struck out with his fist. His punch was like the wind. Instantly. But the instant it closed in on Long Fei's face, Long Fei moved. A supreme aura exploded from his body. With a glare, the punch came to a halt. At the same time, in the void of this unknown land that had already collapsed, streams of power began to wildly enter Long Fei's body. Ding! The Heavenly Emperor's power mutated, leveling up to the Emperor Limitless. Ding! Emperor's sword mutated, leveled up to World Slaughter. Ding! Body securing technique leveled up to soul locking. Ding! The power of divine aura mutated and leveled up to the power of divine seal. Ding! God Berserk mutated, leveling up. Ding! Brilliant world flame mutated, leveled up to world exterminating flame. Yes, all of Long Fei's power, all of his techniques, were released in this instant, without the slightest hesitation. If he died, what was the use of using this power? He was risking everything on this. If he didn't die, he would live. Ding! System prompt. Player will lose all of their strength once fused. Please consider carefully. Ding! System prompt. Player will lose all of their strength once fused. Please consider carefully. Ding! System prompt. Player will lose all of their strength once fused. Please consider carefully. The system kept prompting him. Strength fusion. Long Fei said in a serious tone. There was no need to consider it. He didn't have the right to consider it. Right now, Long Fei's only thought was to give it his all. This was all his trump card, all his strength. He didn't believe it. He couldn't stop the Lord of all fiends. Because what he wanted was to let his brothers and women, as well as his son, continue to live. As for himself, being said to have lost his strength, even if he lost his life, it was nothing. Ding! Congratulations player Long Fei for successfully fusing, triggering super fusion power. The burial ground. Kacha kacha. It was also at this time that the power of the Lord of Chaos was directly annihilated by the inexhaustible power of the Emperor. You still have tricks up your sleeves? I didn't expect a piece of trash like you to really make me have a whole new level of respect for you. But that's all. It's impossible to reverse it. Annihilation of the primordial chaos. The Lord of Primal Chaos roared, the aura on his body exploding forth to the extreme, instantly erupting with an endless amount of crushing power that enveloped Long Fei. But this time, Long Fei, who was wrapped in power, let out a furious roar. Incomparable rage and boundless struggle. Superfusion power, buried world. Explode for me. In the midst of his roar, a beam of light broke through the endless chaos, like a beam of light shining through the sky, illuminating the thousands of mountains and rivers, melting away the world's darkness. Rumble. One after another, the power of primordial chaos after another began to be annihilated. Disappeared. As for the Lord of all fiends, he had been instantly made aware of this as well. The body that had just merged with suddenly showed signs of collapsing. No, impossible. The burial ground. Impossible. It's impossible for Long Batian to leave this power to you. Moreover, this power is even more violent than Long Batian's. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Annihilation of the primordial chaos. Suppress me. The Lord of Chaos roared in anger, crushing him with all his might. However, this power was incapable of suppressing the power of the buried world. In an instant, it was dispersed by the light of the heavens. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Boom. In an instant, the entire unknown land was completely annihilated as a surging power pierced through the divine space. The Lord of Primal Chaos's eyes were filled with unwillingness. He glared at Long Fei, killing intent brewing within them. However, he didn't dare to act rashly. And it was also at this time that the light of day dissipated, and the berserking power that Long Fei had exploded out also disappeared without a trace. The Lord of all fiends had a look of delight in his eyes. Ha! We're done exploding, right? What a strong power. What a pity. How can a trash like you control it? If I kill you, everything will be mine. The Lord of all fiends laughed loudly as he once more gathered his power. And at this time, Long Fei's figure heavily fell from the sky. His expression was calm, neither sad nor happy. He did his best. Right when Long Fei's body was about to hit the ground, a familiar voice sounded once again. Ding! Congratulations to the player for triggering the quest. Ding! Congratulations, player, for triggering the quest. Long Fei was startled. A light burst out of his murky eyes. A dead end. Life again. In his despair, this was a lifesaver. In his despair, this was a lifesaver. At this moment, this crisp system prompt was more wonderful than any other sound in the world. Ding! Please select whether you wish to enter the Yang God realm. The system prompted. System, can you consider this trip to the Sun God realm as a secret world? In the system space, Long Fei asked. Because right now, Long Fei could not just leave. If the Lord of the Primal Chaos doesn't die, Long Fei definitely wouldn't let go of his woman and his son and escape on his own. This was not his style. If so, he would suffer for the rest of his life. Therefore, if he was saved like this, he could only save himself. Long Fei would definitely give up. In theory, it is a task point, so it can be considered a secret world. The system responded. Then can we bring people in? Long Fei asked quickly. This was the question he was most concerned about. This was a crucial point, being able to directly dictate Long Fei's decision. If the system gave him a negative answer, Long Fei would definitely give up on this opportunity. He chose to walk together with his female brothers towards the end. The host can choose to bring people in, but the difficulty of the mission will increase. The system replied, All right, enter immediately, Long Fei decisively said, without the slightest hesitation. He didn't care about the difficulty of the mission at all. As long as he could get out of this predicament, nothing would be a problem. Boom! Following Long Fei's words, instantly, a profound light fell from the sky. It just happened to cover Lu Luoshi and the rest completely. And then he instantly disappeared. Even Long Fei was the same. He disappeared immediately. It was completely silent. At the same time, the Lord of all fiends' attack arrived before them as well, but it missed in the blink of an eye. Disappeared? No, that's impossible. Who is it? Who is fighting against this reputed one? Who exactly is it? Come out from me. The Lord of Primordial Chaos was enraged. He couldn't control it. Everything was for the sake of this final harvest. His own body fusion was one aspect, but getting Long Baishan's secret, as well as the power of the system, was his final goal. But now it was all for naught. How could he not be angry? However, it was useless. Long Fei had already disappeared, and everything was over. Long Fei naturally did not know that his disappearance had actually set off a riot in the Bedlam lands, which resulted in a bifurcation. And then there was Long Fei. Under the enveloping of the system's light, Long Fei's entire being fell into a coma. A few indistinct sounds entered his ears. Where did this trash come from? I don't have a single bit of cultivation base on my body. He should be a fleshly body cultivator. Between a martial saint and a worldly immortal, he could be considered an absolute expert. Expert my ass. Now that Long Fei has risen up, his physical body has shattered the void and overturned the sacred emperor of the central world. Yes, Long Fei's strength is simply berserk. His flesh shattered the void, and his soul tribulation lightning struck 5 times. Rumor has it that in a few days he will be able to attain the sun god's Tao fruit and cross the other shore. One voice after another appeared in Long Fei's mind. In his confusion, Long Fei slowly opened his eyes. Everything around them was unfamiliar. In fact, they were unable to see through the cultivation bases of these people. However, Long Fei had a feeling that if they acted tough in front of him, he could kill them with a slap. Suddenly, Long Fei's eyes flashed. His mind immediately cleared up. At the first moment, Long Fei looked around for Lu Luoshi and the rest. But he didn't see it at all. Other than these strangers, there was no one else in the surroundings. Not here. Could it be that they were separated when they entered this world? Long Fei guessed, hesitating. He couldn't help but feel worried. It had to be known that before these people entered the Yang God realm, they had already fallen into a coma and had no power to self-destruct. After arriving in this strange world, if something unexpected happened, he would be in danger. System, how much cultivation do I have left? Long Fei asked. Before he came here, he had used all of his strength. The system had already warned him that if he fused all of his power would disappear. That was why he asked. Ding, player's body has started to mutate. Their current strength level has not changed. Strength system. Ding. Congratulations, player body leveled up. Beginner body of supreme body. Ding. Congratulations, player blood vein leveled up. Unparalleled among beginner blood vein. Ding. Congratulations, player bone leveling up. Beginner immortal bone sovereign. Ding. Congratulations, player. Everything had leveled up from the body of the blood vein, acupoints to bone marrow. Long Fei stared blankly. He did not know when such a change had occurred. Could the system be pitiful? You think you can give me benefits because I have nothing left? Long Fei thought, then began to comprehend his own strength. But in an instant, Long Fei was enraged. What F*** king benefits were these? It was simply skinning. Because he had swept his eyes across the pubes, Long Fei realized that the root of the great Tao within the pubes had disappeared. There was no more. It was empty, with nothing left. It had to be known that this was a superpower-derived bug. Regardless of whether it was a weapon or skill, it could mutate through the root of the great Tao and burst forth with an even more violent power. But now, all of them had disappeared. Suddenly, Long Fei felt extremely unhappy. However, there was nothing he could do about it. The pubes' great Tao roots had already completely disappeared, and replacing it with the increase in attributes of his entire body was not bad. With that thought, Long Fei retracted his mind. He looked ahead. Just now you guys said that Long Fei wants to become a sun god? Could it be that we have already entered the tomb of the high scholars? Long Fei asked. The graveyard of suns was the most transcendent existence in the world of the sun god. It was Hong Yi who became a sun god, surpassing the land of the sun god. They were filled with endless mysteries. As he thought of the many masters of a Yang god world, the holy artifact of the eternal kingdom, who controlled the good fortune boat in their hands. Long Fei felt an itch in his heart. Now, he was so poor that he needed a bunch of powerful people to fill his treasury. But just as Long Fei finished speaking, he was immediately laughed at by a group of people. He laughed without restraint. All of their eyes looked at Long Fei as if he were a clown. Have you gone stupid? What else? What tombs? Do you think this is still the time of the Ezekiel? Children's graveyard? Ha! This old man is going to die from laughter. You must be pretending to be stupid, right? To the eyeballs? No wonder you asked Long Fei the moment you open your mouth. Is he someone a piece of trash like you can even hope to match up to? A mere martial saint does not have the qualifications to know so much. Be a good boy and don't ask too much. The mocking voices continued, but when it entered Long Fei's ears, he did not know whether to laugh or cry. Exactly, there are many martial arts training as a martial saints. He wasn't even a worldly immortal, yet he still dared to guess at an expert like Long Fei? How reckless! That's right, Long Fei is renowned throughout the imperial court, and is something that you can ask about? That's right. Furthermore, it is said that Long Fei is an extraordinary hero, that even the princesses of the imperial court think highly of him and have already searched the entire city to propose marriage to him. As for you, you are not even fit to carry Long Fei's shoes. Another wave of sarcasm. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.